Come on, come on, come on. Oh, okay. It's not happening yet. Click go live again. Yeah. Please check your internet connection.
It should be working. We're all here.
Yeah, it says live in the corner for me. I think we're going.
Oh, yeah, we are for a minute.
Okay.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, great.
Hey.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, as usual, Alex is having teething troubles, but let's get going. Welcome to today's live stream, everybody. It's Alex from Carnivore for Life, and it's Saturday, 12 noon UK time. I think it's 6 a.m. Central Standard. Yeah.
Yep.
Today's live stream is all about UK carnivores. We're going to talk about the Carnivore Diet Movie, and I'm absolutely delighted. I've got three very special guests to hold my hand before we start. I've got Kerry from Homestead How, Alia from Alia Wells channel, and I've got Graham from Carnivore Transformer. Graham, you're on mute at the moment, so I'll make sure you're off mute so I can talk to you. I say today's live stream is all about UK carnivores. I was watching a couple of channels recently, and I'm intrigued by the fact that across the pond we're starting to get a bit of a tsunami, and it's really refreshing. Kerry's been reaching out to people all over the world, and I think it's about time us UK carnivores did the same. So I've got some special guests coming on in the next 3 hours. They're all from the UK. We've got loads of Q&As to do, and as I say, we're going to talk about the Carnivore Diet Movie from the UK perspective. We're going to talk about it for the 3 hours. Any viewers who come on today, whether you're old or new, please, if you've got any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. Put messages on, obviously, on the stream as well. Kerry is the maestro on the tech. I'm not, so I'll just help wherever I can. And I'm grateful, obviously, that Graham's here to support me, and Alia. I think Alia's going to pop in and out. But guys, thanks so much for your free time. It's very valuable, and I'm so grateful. So without further ado, I want to welcome Kerry. Kerry, welcome to the live stream.
Thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is exciting. We did that 24-hour live stream, and so this one should be a breeze compared to that one. But we had quite a few guests from the UK. I know we had Lee Copus on, who is amazing. Yeah, and one of the craziest things I've been noticing, I get so many comments on my videos, but it seems like there's definitely a tsunami of carnivores over there in the UK. I get so many comments from people over there starting it, and that's awesome to see. Should I talk about the Carnivore Diet documentary a little bit? Maybe give an update while people are jumping on here?
That would be great, yeah.
All right, yeah, so I guess for those that aren't aware, Adam from Carnivore Today and myself recently filmed Maggie, who's an 82-year-old carnivore in Canada. And was very exciting. It was so interesting. She's just thriving as a carnivore at 82 years old. I can't wait to share that footage with everyone. I've had a bunch of people asking, when are we going to see more Maggie? When are we going to see more Maggie? We're still going through all of the footage, and anything that we show on YouTube, we can't show in the documentary. So we have to be very cautious about what we show on YouTube. But she was just incredible. 82 years old, and she's just thriving. One of the most remarkable things was, I said to her at one point, we were interviewing her, and I said, you know, the average life expectancy in the United States is 75. You're 7 years past that. You're 82. I'm like, when are you going to start slowing down or retiring? Because she's working on the farm full time. And when I say full time, I mean full time. She was like, there's some times of the year when we're so busy, we'll work 30 hours straight without sleeping. She's like, we just got to do it. And she's not exaggerating either. She literally does that. And when Adam and I were there, they put us to shame. They were working so hard, we couldn't keep up. We're doing fencing projects and feeding the cows and gathering firewood and just all throughout the whole day. But anyways, I said to her, when are you going to slow down? You're 82. The average life expectancy is 75. She said, Kerry, I'm just getting started. She actually said, I was just editing some of the interview we did. She said, not only am I just getting started, I feel like this is midlife for me at 82. She said, I've had my children, I've had my kids, but I know Dr. Chafee's done a lot of work in that regard, looking at human telomeres and how long humans should live to. I think it's like 125 or 130. Most humans would live to if their bodies weren't in constant chronic inflammation their entire lives. It would be kind of a common thing. So I believe Maggie's going to live to be 120, 130 easily. Just, oh my goodness, just seeing her. One of the other incredible things that happened with Maggie, I can't wait to share this with you guys. It's just, we've been putting together kind of a pre-movie trailer. I guess we don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we're putting together a trailer with what we have so far that we could use for fundraising, and we can go to some of the studios and say, look, this is what we have so far. Are you interested in participating or partnering with us earlier? And I was just editing a part with Maggie where she had a tank top on underneath, so I got to be careful how I say this, but she took her shirt off, and with the tank, she kept the tank top on, but she flexed, and she's just absolutely ripped. It's just, you don't think you're talking to an 82-year-old. I legitimately believe, I said this to Adam, I'm like, she could pick me up and carry me across the field out there over by the cows, and she'd have no problem. At 82 years old, she was jumping over fences and tossing firewood around. It was so funny. At one point, we were unloading some firewood. Adam and her were, and I was filming. And I look over, and Adam's got like this little twig he's throwing, and Maggie's got this huge log, and she's just tossing them she's tossing them like 20 feet, like they're nothing. It was just incredible. So anyhow, Carnivore Diet documentary. For those that, I'm rambling about this now, for those that don't know or are completely new, we're doing a documentary on the carnivore diet, and the goal is to follow individuals and share the examples, the documented stories of individuals, hopefully over the course of 1 year, and not just people that are doing carnivore diet to lose weight, but people that are trying to overcome hopelessness. That's the whole purpose of the documentary. Is there's one time I was hopeless with depression and anxiety, and there's a lot of people out there that have suffered from that, and the only thing that ever helped me was eating the proper human diet, carnivore diet. So we're going to follow people that are depressed, mental health issues, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, IBS, stomach issues. Aging is another one. Women's health and fertility, and cancer is the newest one. And we've already started filming, as I mentioned, Maggie in Canada for the aging portion. We've done quite a few videos with Alex up here too, who, again, Alex, I carry your picture around with me. I know it's kind of creepy. I got it on my phone. I'm like, you believe this? Look at this guy. Do you believe this? Now I got Maggie's picture too, flexing. So I got both of you on my phone. And we're also, yes, there it is. We've also started filming Bill Knott in Alaska, who is who was 700 pounds. He's down almost 100 pounds now. And we're going to be going back to filming him mid-journey, and then at the end of it. He's 700 pounds, hasn't left his house in 4 years. I'll just make this quick because a lot of you are familiar with Bill, but there's a lot of people jumping on here that maybe haven't heard of him yet. Hasn't left his house in 4 years. He's too large to leave his house, and he's been doing carnivore now. I think he's past day 80, maybe going towards 90. I'm losing track. I should add him in my phone. Wow. His inflammation's gone. He's down almost 100 pounds. He had a traveling nurse come in recently, and she was amazed. She's like, your blood pressure's better. Your heartbeat's better. I could just see in your face, your inflammation's down. She hadn't been in there for a while, and she was just, he got it on video too. She was just amazed with his progress, and he's only 80, 90 days into it. So I'm so excited for him. I talk to Bill every day. We've become best friends. We're like brothers now. I can't wait to get back up there and film his story again. But we're going to film him mid-journey, and then whenever he's ready, it may not be a year, maybe a little bit longer. I think it may be a little bit shorter. It's going to take him more than a year to lose all of the weight. At 700 pounds, he wants to get down to about 200 or so. But within a year or even less, I think he's going to have no problem getting up and walking out that front door for the first time. And when he does that, I'm going to be there He wants me to be there. I made sure of that. I'm like, are you sure? So we're going to be there filming him stepping outside for the first time in 4 years
That's
after
awesome.
losing all of his weight. But yeah, he's just had incredible progress just within the first couple of weeks. One of the most incredible things was his walk from his bed to the toilet was just incredibly painful for him. And like, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks into it, he called me. He's like, Kerry, this is incredible. What is going on? Obviously it's only been 2 weeks. I have so much weight to lose. How is all of this pain gone? I had excruciating pain in his knees and his back. It's only been 2 weeks. I have so much weight. And he said it's all gone in like 2 or 3 weeks. That pain was gone. I said, Bill, it's the inflammation. Everyone watching this that isn't familiar with inflammation should be worried about it. Most people in the world that hear I'm doing carnivore diet, they're like, oh, I'm so scared, your cholesterol, and they're worried about the wrong things. They should be worried about chronic inflammation, which has been proven. It leads to all sorts of diseases and health issues, including cancers. Nobody's concerned about that. Everyone's been set up with misinformation about meat clogging your arteries and high cholesterol being a bad thing and hurting you so much. But
Yeah.
it's that chronic inflammation that gets so many people. So
yeah, great. Thanks for that, Kerry. Before we get on first guest on, could you touch on promoting the video, promoting for donations and everything? And obviously we're gonna have Q&As today.
Oh, I can talk about that.
Anybody? Sorry.
I can talk about that.
Any questions from any viewers, please, guys, put them on as quick as you can. Obviously, I've got Graham and Alia helping today. So, Kerry, could you touch on progress on donations?
Sure, I'll touch on that, and then I'll hand it over to Alia because she is awesome with the fundraising, and she's been actually managing a lot of that for us. But it's been incredible. We started the GoFundMe, and we did a 10-hour live stream, a 24-hour live stream, and just to be perfectly clear, this whole thing is a passion project. I'm not doing a carnivore diet documentary to profit or make any money. In fact, I put thousands of dollars of my own money into it. I'm not taking a penny from anything, any donations we're getting. So, but it is completely crowdfunded. This is the type of documentary that it's going to be hard to get like some angel investor or someone to invest in. So we've set up a GoFundMe, and you can donate to that at carnivoredietmovie.com. Or you can go to donate.carnivoredietmovie.com. Either of those works. You're better off going to carnivoredietmovie.com because there's some options up there, and you can donate through the GoFundMe. We also have t-shirts that are for sale. Every penny we get from those that's profit goes to the documentary. We have these really cool, I don't have mine with me, but we have these really cool Redmond's salt shaker. They're little portable ones with a keychain holder. We did those at the 24-hour live stream. Those have been going crazy. People have been loving those. So when you're out and about and you want to have a good real salt with you, you can bring that with. You can order all of those right on carnivoredietmovie.com. Every penny goes towards the documentary. And maybe I'll hand it over to Alia before I tell it all. Like, Alia, maybe you can mention, we recently, I think after the 24-hour live stream, hit a big milestone in terms of number of donations.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Sure. So far, I'll just show the GoFundMe if I can share this really fast. But we've in the GoFundMe, it's almost $70,000, and I think we're gonna get that done in the next few minutes. Here, we need $500, and we'll hit $70,000. We're trying to reach 100,000, but right after the 24-hour live stream, we hit 1,000 individual donations. And I think that's pretty stellar because that shows how many people have a gigantic heart. I don't care if you paid 1 penny or $1,000. Like, this is amazing because we're like one big happy team just trying to get this done together because we want to help people. We want to change their lives. And I think I just think it's so amazing. I was actually in shock after the live stream. We did $40,000 in 24 hours. So thank you, everyone. I keep saying that. Thank you so much. And I think Adam, he made a grid for us and he wants us to do 10,000 this morning. So y'all, if you know my math works like this. Let's see. If 10 people just did $1,000 right now, we'd be done. Yay.
Are we still doing? Oh, sorry, Ali, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to say, we could still do that. What we did in the 24-hour live stream, I think it was a $500 donation. We'll get you in the credits and we can do like a phone call. I just did a phone call the other day too. Yeah, get you in the credits, get you a one-on-one phone call if you want to, if you have some ideas. I had a phone call with someone that did that from the 24-hour live stream the other day. It was great. She had some really good ideas for the documentary. But yeah, thank you, Ali. It's we really appreciate it. I'm so thankful for the donations and everything, because it's going to help hopeless people. There's so many other bills out there in the world, and so many other people that are hopelessly depressed or anxiety that just they don't know this is an option. And the goal with the documentary is to reach millions of people, and to do that and to do it properly, it costs a lot of money. The other thing I didn't mention, I'll just say real quick, is I'm so thankful for all these good doctors. I had the privilege of interviewing, I think it's like 8 of them at this point: Dr. Berry, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Baker, Dr. Tony Hampton, who we're visiting next month, Dr. Lisa Wiedemann, Dr. Philip Ovadia. I'm missing some, I know it, but they've all, Dr. Chafee, they've all agreed to participate in this documentary. So we have all these amazing experts that are participating as well. So, but we're going to have to go film each of them individually. Dr. Chafee's in Australia. We got to do a really good job with a crew and lighting and everything. So that's what these funds are going for, because our goal is to get this on a big streaming service like Netflix or one of these big, so that we can reach millions of people. We're reaching a lot of people on YouTube, but we're just scratching the surface of what we could reach. So
Great stuff.
Yeah, it's
okay.
awesome.
We've still got a few minutes before our first guest comes on. Quick question for you guys: how long have you all been on carnivore? I'll start off with Graham.
221 days today.
Kerry.
I'm pretty close to Graham. I'm checking here real quick. I haven't looked in a while. Hold on, just 2 seconds. 222. As of today, I started March 20th.
I'll be 8 months in November.
Yeah, let's times that by what? So you're slightly ahead of the two boys. I'm on day 545.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Congratulations.
And yeah, for all the viewers, it just gets better and better. I'm starting Lion Diet on the 1st of November. I'm going to document it, do daily shorts, but I'm going to cut out everything except ruminant meats. I'm going to have water and bread and salt. That's all I'm going to do.
Nice. Have you tried that at all yet, Alex? Doing a couple days of Lion, or is this your first?
No,
try?
I mean, I've noticed that I've cut down on the eggs. I've cut out cheese completely. And watching you and Dr. Chafee talking about optimum, that's my next level. That's my next goal. And as I say, I'm going to give it a good go in November, and maybe for the over 50s, so I can sort of set a good example and say, guys, you know, I'm 65, I'm going towards 66, 67, and I'm just feeling better and better and better. And I think that's my little mission at the moment. You've got your passion project. I feel exactly the same, Kerry. Now I've got over the fact that people are able to hear what I'm saying. I've got lots of family and friends watching on YouTube, and now starting to say, Alex, what are you doing? How come you're doing this? You know, don't go too skinny. And I know I'm starting to make an impact, and that's exactly what I want. It's exactly what I want to do.
That's wonderful. I can't wait to watch your
there,
channel.
Kerry, yet?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't wait to watch your channel and see that progress. I think you're gonna really like it. I was gonna go back on Lion. I should just do it November 1st. I was gonna go back on it, but when we went to visit Maggie, she cooks a lot of eggs, and Dr. Chafee told me that, and I didn't want to be rude and be like, oh, I'm very strict. So I'm kind of glad I waited. But when I did 60 days of Lion before going by Maggie, and I felt so good. I still feel amazing on carnivore, so I'm not complaining, but I did feel better. The one thing that I've learned, this is, I guess, good advice for everyone. Everyone says this on carnivore, but even myself, I'm a hypocrite. Like I fail at this sometimes, is getting enough fat, especially when you're on Lion. It can be tricky, because when I wasn't on Lion, I'd supplement with like butter sometimes. If I have a strip steak or something, add a bunch of butter to that. When we were at Maggie's, every single morning we had these cowboy breakfasts, Adam and I called them, and it was wonderful. In fact, Dr. Chafee messaged me while we were there, and he's like, yeah, man, I really missed those breakfasts. Those were amazing. But one of the things Maggie does is she just brings out this big thing of beef fat in the morning. She's got this big cleaver. She chops it up into little chunks, cooks it in a cast iron skillet with some salt. And the first time I saw it, she made so much, and I'm like, ooh, I mean, I'm pretty good on carnivore. I'll eat anything. But I'm like, how much of this am I going to be expected to eat? She made such a big batch, but we all just had a little bit of it with the breakfast, and I never felt better. Like I was not. This is one big thing I learned that week. I was like, I was not getting enough fat before. I always say it too, but Dr. Kilt said that when we did a video together. He's like, it should be called fativore, not carnivore. It's just the fat that matters. If you just ate lean meat, you wouldn't be able to thrive on it. So I'm going to be trying to incorporate more of that going forward. Hey, look, Alia Wells with $400,000. We're done. Let's go home. Shut her down. Documentary's funded.
So it does say Colombian pesos.
Yeah.
It does say Colombian pesos.
Oh, I missed
but I wanted to start it because I don't want to just tell people to pay money and not show that I do that also.
That's awesome. Thank you, Alia.
And then, yeah, you guys are awesome. So whoever wants to do another 400,000, that would be great. No, this is like $100. This is like $100. Lisa, here, can you answer this question? How do I super chat, Lisa?
Okay.
Kerry, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, sure. So there should be like a little $ when you're in YouTube by the chat box. You can click right on that. However, if you can't figure that out or you don't want to do it, and it might be different on your phone, but there's usually a little $ down there you can click on. We do get more bang for the buck. Just saying, if you're open to options, if you go to carnivoredietmovie.com and you do the GoFundMe, the problem with the super chat, it's not a problem. Like if you want to do it, go for it, but they take a bigger percentage. So if you want to get the Carnivore Diet Movie, the most bang for the buck, the GoFundMe, which is linked to it, carnivoredietmovie.com, is better. But otherwise, you click the little $, it'll pop up on YouTube. It'll ask for your information if it's not in there already. And then, then you can do a super chat. Cool thing with super chats, for anyone that's not familiar, they appear specially on our screen, and we always try to read every one of those. And if you're ever doing like a Dr. Barry Q&A or Dr. Chafe, if you do a super chat, they're going to read it. They're going to see it where it might get lost otherwise if you have an important question or comment that you want to be seen. So
okay, great. Okay, guys, right. Good news. Our first special guest is backstage. I'm just going to bring her on now. It's welcome to Lauren.
Hi.
Lauren, are you with us?
Hi, Lauren.
Hello. I'm here. I think I'm here.
You're here.
I'm here.
Yeah, you are. Loud and clear. Okay. Right. Lauren, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for being our first special UK guest today. I don't know whether you've spoken to Alia, Graham, or Kerry before. Have you had a chance to speak to them?
I've spoke to Graham before, yeah. And Alia and Kerry,
great.
no.
Okay.
I was going to say not directly, but I'm
well, I'll give them a chance to ask.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'll give you a chance to ask some questions in a minute. I think you're getting a slight delay here. Lauren, so we've had a chat before, and I was very intrigued by your initial channel was called Farmer's Wife Carnivore Life, but it has changed, hasn't it, to Farmer's Wife? Is it Farmer's Life?
It's now Farmer's Wife Farming Life. Yeah, unfortunately, I had to do a little bit of rebranding because my son caught wind of my YouTube channel, and on my YouTube channel, I obviously had accounts of being suicidal and all about my periods, my bowel movements, and I was getting all of these little subscribers coming on, which were all my son's friends, and I was like, oh my god, I can't have them all at school, like seeing videos of me about my periods and bowel movements and stuff like that. But the worst thing was I obviously didn't want him or his friends to hear me talking about being suicidally depressed. So I had to take all I didn't take my videos down, but I unlisted them because I didn't want to delete them, because obviously I had like lots of content on there that could help people, but I'm still a little bit unsure where to go with that and what to do with them at the moment. So that's something that I'm still a little bit undecided about. But for the moment, I'm just focusing on doing interviews and getting my word out that way.
Okay, well, it's my honor to invite you today and do the usual thing. Just introduce yourself for people who don't know who you are or what your channel's all about, and just tell us more about Lauren and Farmer's Wife.
Yeah, so I'm Lauren, and I have a YouTube channel, but now it is more farming. So if you're into farming, then you might want to check it out. But I don't tend to put any carnivore updates on there at the moment. But yeah, I started Carnivore back in May because of Kerry, actually. It was about a similar time. I had heard about it and started researching it, and then I came across your channel, Kerry. And saw that you had started. I think it was your 30-day. Was it your 30-day video? And so you might have been slightly ahead of me, and that just convinced me. I just had a feeling inside me, and I thought, yes, this is just what I've got to do. This is it. So that's what gave me the final push. But I came into the carnivore diet through being very, very sick last year. It came out of nowhere, really. I would have considered myself a healthy individual, and then all of a sudden I just had symptom on top of symptom, and I just suddenly, it almost overnight just hit me like a brick. And I was experiencing all a whole host of different symptoms and different things. And I think, like a lot of people out there, I tried several different things. I tried all the different diets going, and nothing helped, which led to my my really bad depression. Because I just felt like I just thought, this is how I've got to live. If I've got to live like this, I don't want to live anymore. And I just felt like I exhausted all pathways. And yeah, so eventually I got led to the carnivore diet, which has healed me.
I think you look great. You look fantastic on Carnivore.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't look this like this last year.
Well, I was thinking, I watched Kerry's video on visiting his neighbour's farm, and I would love to come down to Somerset and check out the location. It looks incredible.
Yeah, no, that would be really cool. You'd be welcome to do that. I'd love to do that.
My videos won't be like Kerry's, but as I say, I think we'll get a lot of viewers watching that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be really fun. I'd like to do that. We should definitely do that.
Yeah. Okay. Right, Kerry, have you got any questions for Lauren?
Yeah, first, huge shout out to Lauren, because we haven't spoken specifically, but you did your hope segment for our 24-hour live stream, and
yeah,
I've heard that part. In fact, I have it right here. Maybe we show it a little bit later, but it was like a 5-minute testimonial on your carnivore experience, and yours was one of the best. I've been showing yours to people. I'm like, just do it like Lauren. This is what we want. It was so good, because you're like, this is what happened, and then these are the results. But you had some just incredible results. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more? The big reason, the whole reason I'm doing the carnivore diet documentary is because I had depression, and I was just so hopeless at one point. I'm like, there's no way out of this. And it sounds like you've had a similar sort of experience. Can you talk about that a little bit more? Did anything else ever help you with depression or anxiety?
No. So I was really, really in a bad place. I was the worst I'd ever been, and I wasn't really a depressive person before. Like, I've always been quite a jolly person, always tend to see like the brighter side of life on things. It wasn't until I got sick that it sent me into this just downward spiral, and I just got worse and worse because nobody could help me. I went to doctor after doctor, and like I mentioned previously, I tried diet after diet, and just absolutely nothing worked. And it just sent me downhill, and I got to the stage where I would just, in the morning would come round, and honestly I would just think, oh great, another day. and then I just pull the duvet back over my head, lie there. Even though I've got 3 children and a husband, I literally, it sounds horrible, but I did not care. I just did not want to be here. I didn't want to look after my children. I didn't do anything in the house. I didn't do anything on the farm. I just went completely inward. And if I did make it out of bed, I'd go down onto the sofa, and that is where I'd stay for the day. And I wouldn't talk to anybody. I was in a honestly a terrible state. And I got myself into that state, and then my family obviously around me were very, very worried, and they said, I think you need to go to the doctor to see if they can do anything for your depression. But what was so frustrating for me was because I knew why I was depressed. If you could at the time wave a magic wand and say, I'll take all of your symptoms and all your illness away, I would have been fine. There was nothing else mentally going on to make me depressed. It was all from that. So I did end up going to the doctor, and I just remember going in there and sitting down, and I could barely talk to him because I was just crying so much. And I even remember him saying, I don't know why you're so, because I was explaining that I couldn't eat anything and everything's social. I'd go to barbecues or parties and I wouldn't be able to eat, and before I went out I had to check to see if there was something I could eat before I went, blah blah blah. And the doctor, even he turned around and said, I'm not sure why you're so depressed, because the omeprazole that you're on, which is an acid blocker, you should be able to take that and eat anything you want. And then but that made me feel even worse, because I'm thinking, well, now something's wrong with me, because this omeprazole, supposedly I'm supposed to be taking it, and now I can just magically eat whatever I would like to, and that's not happening for me. So then I was even more anxious, because I'm like, well, something's wrong with me, something's not right. But anyway, he ended up, long story short, putting me on antidepressants. So I came out of there quite happy with that result there, because at the time I literally trusted the doctors with my life. I'd go in there and I'd be happy if they prescribed me something. I'd be happy because I come out thinking that was the magic pill. Oh, I'm really depressed, I'm going to start these antidepressants, and next week I'm going to be back to normal, going to be absolutely fine. That was my thought. So for a couple of days I felt really good, thinking I just got to wait a few days and my depression will go away, but in fact I just got worse and worse. So yeah, I was in a very bad way, and it wasn't until that I found Carnivore that my depression and anxiety ever lifted. And I didn't realize at the time, but I think I've actually had anxiety my whole life, because I would be worried about little things. I didn't even really know what anxiety was, but I definitely have had it my whole life. Little things like going to bed at night, just I'd be like, I could go to bed and think, oh, I hope nobody comes up, I hope nobody's going to break in. Like all these little things are anxiety, which I just thought that was normal to have these thoughts going through your head. And I'd always think the worst of everything. If my husband was going out in the car with my children and they were like 10 minutes late, I'd think, oh God, they've all had a crash. And I couldn't think, oh, they've stopped and they've got chatting to somebody. It was always the worst scenario. So I do think that I suffered from that without even realizing. And it wasn't until going carnivore that I literally my fears have just completely gone away. I don't have any fear at all. And another thing I'll mention actually, which has shocked me, is my whole life I've had a major phobia of wasps. And when I say a major phobia, like if I was out in public and a wasp come near me, I would not be afraid to scream and run away. And that all stemmed from when I was 10 months old. I lost my dad because he was allergic to bee stings, and he got stung by a bee, and it killed him. So obviously I've had that fear in my head all growing up, thinking, if I get stung by a wasp or a bee, I'm going to die. And that was my thought process. And since carnivore, you can ask my husband, he can't quite believe it. a wasp can come and land on me, and I'm just like, it's fine, he'll fly away in a moment. And I that phobia has completely disappeared, which blows my mind.
That's amazing. I'm so happy
Yeah.
for you. I know exactly what you're saying with the depression. When I had it too, it was like, it's not like my life is bad. There was no reason for it whatsoever. It's hard to explain to people unless you've been there. I don't know if you had this too. When I had it, people would be like, "Oh, just go for a walk, just walk it off." It's like, no, it's not like that. But I had the same experience just sitting on the couch and with 4 girls. That's my biggest regret. I don't have many regrets, but that's the biggest regret, is just I was just catatonic, just sitting there on the couch for years, and I went in to get help too, just like you, and I was excited too. I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna give me something, like there's some hope, there's something." But then they told me when I went on the antidepressants, it's gonna take 3 months before you even know if it works or not. I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if I could wait 3 months." I did the 3 months, and it did nothing for me. It made me just feel kind of nothing. So it's
Yeah.
something, but
I think for the first, I was only on them for 2 weeks before I decided that they're not doing anything. I'm just coming off, because I thought it's pointless. If they're not doing anything, it's pointless me being on them. But for the first 2 weeks, I didn't know this was possible, but I felt worse. And then I did Google that, and it did say it can make you feel worse before you get better. So I did ride it out. I think for they said the first week you can feel a lot worse. And I stuck with it for about 2 weeks, and I decided I'm coming off. But I didn't even know it was possible to feel worse, but they definitely made me feel worse initially.
yeah. Yeah, that's such a crazy thing.
Yeah.
I love what you said though, because it is so true. Going from that to I'm thinking every Tuesday I do like a carnivore video, and I think that was going to be the next one, was how much better life is on carnivore, for the simple fact of being fearless. Like you said, Lauren, it's not that I'm no longer depressed or no longer anxious. It's literally like I used to just worry about every single little thing, just like you mentioned, for years and years and years, every single day. There's none of that anymore. Life is so much better not having to
Yeah.
worry about that stuff. And all those things, if you think about it, Lauren, all those things you worried about, not one of them probably ever came to fruition. It's just such wasted energy. All those things
Yeah,
we
it
worried
is.
about.
Yeah, and I think I've learned as well, the more time you spend putting your energy into these negative things, that's actually more likely to happen. I think if you're focused on being positive and motivated, and I can do this, I will do this, and it all just sort of seems to pan out. And I don't know, I just think it sounds a little bit woo and out there, but I definitely had some sort of spiritual awakening as well throughout this journey, and I've just sort of found some inner peace. And I wasn't even like a spiritual person before, but I just had this massive awakening in every aspect of my life, and
Yeah.
it's just taken away the fear. I can't really explain it, but it's just, I honestly have just had a massive shift. And I think that I went through all what I went through last year for a reason. I think you go through the tough times to become stronger and for you to grow as a person.
Right. So could I ask Lauren, like, I get this question all the time, and I'm bad with dates, but a lot of people say I've got really bad anxiety, I'm starting to get depression. If I'm thinking about starting carnivore, like, how long did it take you before you started noticing some of those things lifting?
Almost instantly for me. I started, and I think because the diet that I was on previous to carnivore, I was on low fat, loads and loads of veg. I just used to eat grains and vegetables. It was almost vegetarian, vegan, but not quite, because I did have a little bit of chicken or salmon here and there. But it was so, God, when I look back now, the oxalates, like, it was just, the diet I was on was ridiculous, and I was constantly hungry all the time, starving. And so I went from that diet to carnivore almost overnight. Well, I did overnight, and it just made, I just had a rush of joy go through my body on the first day that I just wasn't hungry, and I was just like, this is amazing. I hope this diet works, because if it does work, I can just eat until I'm full, and I just went all day without being hungry and just fully satisfied. So I just think straight away, it didn't take very long for me to start having positive effects from the carnivore diet mentally. But I think, like I said, that helped me not being hungry, because being hungry made me depressed initially as well, thinking, have I got to live like this my whole life, eating all this stuff that I don't want to eat and feeling constantly starving all the time.
Right. It's so interesting. Your story is so similar to mine. I was doing the same thing before, because one comment I get all the time that drives me insane was like, this is great, Kerry. You overcame depression, anxiety, lost a bunch of weight. You would have done the same thing if you just ate more vegetables and eliminated the sugar. And like Lauren, I was doing the same thing. I was strict keto before this. I'd have a salad for lunch, a salad for dinner, low carb veg, and maybe a little bit of protein or chicken. But I was avoiding the fat and everything, and I was horribly depressed. I had inflammation. I had all of these issues. It's I think one of the big things with depression that I've since learned is our bodies need that fat. And then when you get the fat, your cholesterol goes up, which has been demonized so long, and that balances your hormones, which are completely out of whack from avoiding it for so long. When those hormones get balanced, the testosterone goes up, your sleep gets better, it like affects everything, and that depression and anxiety goes away. I don't like, I get a lot of comments from plant-based vegan people, and I don't care. I'm like, if you get off the standard American diet, good for you. But I don't want to mislead people to say, oh, go do vegan, you'll have the same results as me. Because I don't think you will. I think that's a big missing component, is the mental health, the depression, the anxiety, the hormones are missing when you're just eating salad and lettuce the entire time.
Yeah, that's what I try and tell people, because my testimonial, sometimes people will say, well, I don't know how you can say that, because I've been on carnivore for, I don't know, 6-8 weeks, and I still haven't had any of these symptoms go away. But what I do remind people is, like yourself, for a year prior to carnivore, I completely quit sugar. So I hadn't had sugar for a year. I hadn't had gluten for a year. I was dairy free for a year. Like, all the inflammatory things I had taken out of my diet. And then on this low fat, high veg diet, I was thinking that I was really, really healthy, but I had also obviously removed processed food. So for a whole year prior to carnivore, I hadn't touched processed foods or anything like that. So I still had that extra healing for that year, taking all the processed rubbish out. So I think that's why when I started carnivore, it started instantly happening, because I'd already had a previous amount of healing prior to carnivore, but just not quite the full healing. So that is why I do think I had such a it happened so quickly for me. Like, literally within days, I noticed things starting to go away. But like you, though, being on all the vegetables and the low fat, I still had the depression, and there was still a lot of things that I did have. And my periods went away. I suddenly stopped having my cycle. And I'm only in my 30s. I should still be having a regular cycle. And it wasn't until this month, actually, that carnivore has brought my cycle back. So I think that says something in itself. That obviously the low fats wasn't helping, because I had a cycle previous to that, and then I went low fat, high veg and all that, and I completely lost my cycle altogether, which I have heard quite a lot of vegans do experience that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've heard Dr. Kiltz talk about that quite a bit as well.
Yeah, so I do think then there's obviously something in it, because my body was cycling. I moved to I took away all the processed foods, which was supposed to make me healthier, and then all of a sudden my cycle disappeared. And it wasn't until I started carnivore and high fat that my cycle has now returned.
That's amazing. Question, Lauren. It seems like,
right. Oh, sorry. Go on, carry on,
sorry.
Kerry.
I'll ask. I got one more, and then I'll pass it over to Alex. In the U.S., it seems like to me, I don't know if this is because I'm biased, but it seems like carnivore is really spreading. I get more and more people coming up to me saying, I'm a carnivore, I'm a carnivore. Are you seeing that over by you?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, actually, because when I first started in May, I literally thought I felt like the only person on the planet that was doing carnivore, apart from the people that I were watching on YouTube. So I literally thought there were a handful of us, maybe like 5 to 10 people in the world doing carnivore.
Yeah.
And then so it actually feels quite isolating because you've got nobody to talk to about it. And even my family at the time didn't know that I was doing it. So it was all kind of like a little bit secretive, and I just had no support whatsoever apart from going on watching videos on YouTube to give me reassurance. But I only thought to myself this morning, I feel like it's getting more and more widespread, but I didn't know if that was because I'm more aware of carnivore, or whether more are actually coming out of the woodwork. I'm not quite sure, but I definitely am now aware of a lot more carnivores in the UK, which is something I'm really happy about because, like I said, at one point, I actually thought I was probably the only person in the UK doing carnivore. But yeah, I think I am obviously more aware of carnivores, so that might be an aspect of it. But I do think in general it is getting more widespread. I do think that.
Nice.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, a couple of questions for myself, if you don't mind. Have you been to see your doctor recently for any updates or blood works?
No. Now I don't want to go anywhere near the doctor. So, well, luckily I haven't had anything that I need to go about anyway. But I just don't. Doctors are somebody that I just don't want to see anymore. I'm sort of done with them. I think I can, if there's something that I need to sort out, I can sort it out through myself and my own research. I don't really trust what the doctor has to say. Recently, though, I have had a letter through the post inviting me to have it's some sort of survey going on in the UK. I think they want about 5 million people to take part, and they want to give their blood, and they want to do like diabetes, cholesterol, all these different checks. So I probably will go and have that done, only because I'm just interested to see what my results will be. But then I'll just probably withdraw from because they're doing it as a study. I don't know what for. Something that they're doing through the NHS. Yeah. But I think that I will probably have my blood work done and then get my results, just out of interest for me. My cholesterol is probably going to be sky high, but what we've always been led to believe are good blood results might not be the true case. But yeah, just for my own record, I'd like to know where my bloods are, so I probably will do that.
Yeah, great stuff. I'm having major support from my family and friends now that I've stuck to this for 17 months. At the beginning, like yourself, it was like tumbleweed. I felt as if I was the only person on Facebook or in my social life doing what I was doing. So in the end, I kept my mouth shut until I started going onto YouTube and seeing Dr. Baker and obviously the likes of Homestead How. What kind of support are you getting from your family and friends? And have you had any negatives about it?
Yeah, so like you, when I first started, I actually found that it was easier to not talk about it, because if I tried explaining to somebody, you'd instantly get shut down with, "What? You can't eat like that. You can't eat just meat. That's mental. Yeah, you're crazy. You're going to have a heart attack. This is going to happen to you," and all this. And I actually got exhausted with it, just trying to defend myself, even though I had all the answers that I'd sort of researched inside me, and I could fight it. I could sit here now and like defend the carnivore diet to the hill. I have got answers. If anybody wanted to get into a argument about it with me, I can do it. But I just got exhausted with everywhere I went and having to explain myself over and over why I'm not eating this food. My mum was she took it not very well. And she would quite often remind me how broccoli is the best thing that you can possibly eat. So I'd argue back and be like, no, that's not really, we've been led to believe that. And then I get, well, how do you know that? How do you know the information you're getting is true? You've got it all off the internet. They've been telling us for years that blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it was just so exhausting. And my mum's obviously, bless her, like we all were, is set up in a way that she believes all of this food pyramid stuff, and that vegetables and fruit are the best things we can have. And she told me I was going to have a heart attack, and she goes to bed at night worrying about me. She can't sleep, and I'm like, Mum, like I'm really fine. If you're going to worry about anyone, worry about my two sisters who are still eating McDonald's. Like, they're the ones you need to worry about, not me. But yeah, so I had quite a hard time with my mum and dad, but they now accept that I eat like that, and they have seen the results in me. Nobody can deny how much I've changed since last year, from sitting on a sofa, not wanting to do anything, not wanting to participate in anything, to now being completely changed, a completely different person. Nobody can deny that. But I still think that they struggle to believe that that's through diet. And I think my mum also feels like I'm missing out. So if we're at a social event and I'm not eating the party food that they've got available, I think she feels sorry for me that I can't eat that. But I don't think that they realise that I'm fine with not eating that. Like, it's okay. I'm here. I'm having a good time. I don't need alcohol to have a good time. I don't need food to have a good time. Like, I'm fine with not eating that. But I think she thinks that I'm sort of pretending and wishing that I could have all of that. Yeah, it's very difficult. But it's been a bit of a struggle there. But as with my immediate family, so my husband, he is now completely on board, because he's seen, obviously, firsthand exactly what it's done for me. And he's almost carnivore himself as well. And that's another great support, because now we're sort of both doing it, and I'm not having to cook the meals. I don't have to cook all the things that I used to anymore, because I'd literally just now make meat, and he will eat that as well, which obviously makes life so much easier. So yeah, so I've got the immediate support now, and my mum and dad my mum and stepdad are coming round to it a bit, but they're still not 100% on board yet.
Yeah, it sounds like the same journey as myself. I mean, I know obviously carnivore has been exploding in the States for a long time, but I think we're definitely going to get the same reaction here. So let's talk about your channel for just a couple of seconds. I loved all your shorts, which you obviously had to take down. I was fascinated by you having the guts to make the shorts at such a young age. And I thought this will resonate with so many women who are struggling like yourself. But then all of a sudden I went onto your channel, I think it was last week or the week before, and I saw all these farming videos. I was like, wow, these are great, and so I could see a completely different, unbelievable. And but the question I wanted to ask, and I was thinking about at the time, the cows, when you're feeding them and they come over to you and you're calling them your girls, I was quite emotional watching all that. So I want to know, how do you get the disconnect between your girls and when they go to slaughter? How do you do that mentally?
Well, the thing is what you've got to realize is I know the life that they've had when they've been with us, and when they've been with us, they've had the best life they can possibly have, because we wouldn't have it any other way. We treat them all exactly how they should be treated, and quite a lot of times we get quite a bad stigma from the press. And also vegans sometimes like to sort of say how we badly treat our animals and different things like that. So it's quite hard, because we're constantly fighting our corner. And if they've had like evidence of one farm treating their cows like that, it doesn't mean that we all treat our cows like that. So it's actually quite disappointing. And well, from my videos you can see we literally work all hours of the day, and it's not easy. it is a lifestyle. It's not, people do say it's not a job, it's a lifestyle, which is true, because they're here with us 24/7. We can't choose when they're gonna have a baby. Like sometimes it's through the night. We can't choose if one's going to get ill, what time it's going to get ill. It's 24/7 around the clock. But I just think we've got a couple beef animals at the moment, and they're due to go now to slaughter in next month actually. But I just know they're coming up, they'll be 2 years old, and that 2 years they've been free out in the fields, they've had an absolute wonderful life, and that puts my mind at ease. I just know the life that they have lived has been a lovely life, and they couldn't have had like any better. So, and then also for me and my family, that beef that we are going to have, I know it's got no antibiotics, hasn't been fed any rubbish, and it's just pure clean meat. So obviously that's then benefiting us and my family.
Yeah, excellent. Please keep putting those videos up. I think they're fantastic.
I will. Yeah, no, a lot of people asked about farm videos, so I did one, and then they seemed to quite like them, so I did a few more. But again, like if you'd asked me to do these videos last year, there's no way that I would go out on the farm working and have the motivation to be filming and editing, because, well, as you know, it's not as easy as going out, filming it and putting it on YouTube. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and actually trying to do your job at the same time as filming it can be really difficult. So let alone having 3 kids as well sometimes that are there that you're trying to control, and a lot of work goes into it. So but I'm just glad now that I've got the motivation to do that now. So
Okay, excellent. Kerry, we've got our next guest in the waiting room. Have you got any other questions for Lauren?
I don't think so. Just big shout out. I've linked to Lauren's YouTube channel from the description. Maybe if we get time later, Alex, I have Lauren's 5-minute video we showed during the 24-hour live stream. So maybe if we get some time later, we could show that, because it's really good. Quick 5 minutes. But yeah, huge shout out, Laura. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping at some point I can get over to the UK too, by the way. I didn't mention that earlier. So maybe we can get out there and do like a big meetup somewhere, because yourself, I've become friends with Lee Copus as well, who I think is gonna be on later too. So yeah, it'd be great to do a meetup and meet at some point.
Yeah, that would be really good. That would be really great.
Yeah, Kerry. Yeah, Kerry, you've absolutely read my mind again. I was going to suggest that because I've always wanted to go to Somerset. Obviously, Lee's down there as well. That would be a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I need to go to the UK.
Lauren, thanks very much. Really great.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Lauren. Good job too.
Thanks. You
Good
take care.
job.
Take
That's
care.
awesome.
Bye. Thank you. You saying bye?
Bye.
Say bye. Bye.
Bye. Alia, could you give us an update on what's been going on?
Graham's going to do the update. He's the grid master today. I'm helping out in the chat. I'm talking to people in the chat, but Graham's got the grid.
Let me just get the grid up.
Okay, great.
The screen.
This is why you guys are here.
Whoa. Let me just see which one is. I got a lot of stuff open here. There we go. There we go. So we got some super chats, $124, and a GoFundMe of $135. Boy, still doing that wrong. Okay, there we go. Thank you to. Let me just go to the chats. Thank you to Alia for 400. I'm not gonna say
it's $100, people.
$100. Josh Brown, £9.99. Am I right? £9.
Yep.
Thank you for everything you do for the carnivore community, Kerry. This way of life has changed everything for me, and your videos have been a huge inspiration. Yep. And then we had all beef, no beer, 10 pound, 6 days on carnivore and 6 days sober with obviously goes hand in hand. But this lifestyle is the only thing that has made me stop abusing alcohol in over 10 years. Vids to follow. So 2 vids, yeah. Videos to follow. Yeah, and that was our super chats. And we want to say thank you to, I did mention Sandra. Anybody can say that surname?
One hope for all. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you. Gigi Janine, I think that's DS111. Got her. And we had Liesel Crisel, $50. Thank you for the for the GoFundMe. Right, that's it. Remember,
okay, great.
GoFundMe is the best. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Alex.
Okay.
Just stop screen.
Yeah, thank you, Graham. Okay, so second guest is in the waiting room in the green room, and it's yeah, of course, yeah, fire away.
Okay, if you want t-shirts also on Kerry's website, on the Homestead How website, or the salt shakers, you can totally do that. All of those profits go to the Carnivore Diet documentary, and I will pop the link in the chat. There you go. I'm done. I'm going back on mute.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm having a slight delay on my live stream, unfortunately. So apologize to you guys and the viewers. I've actually bought an Ethernet cable, a very expensive one, but no. Anyway, so we'll plod on. Our second guest from the UK is Paul from UK Carnivore, guys. So I'm going to bring him in now. Here we go. Hopefully.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, welcome, Paul.
Thank you very much for having us. Good afternoon or good morning if you're over there in America.
Morning.
Okay, Paul, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it. Been looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay. Paul, second time we spoke, and I really enjoyed the last live stream. Obviously, I don't know whether you guys have spoken to Paul before, but he's doing some really good stuff on YouTube. Today, I want to obviously welcome Paul. And Paul, just please tell us a bit about yourself and your journey so far on carnivore.
Yeah, well, I'm obviously Paul. I'm 46-year-old. I've been carnivore 79 days today. So I'm doing well. I'm quite happy that I've gotten this far. I wanted to do a minimum of 90, but I think since I've got up to 79, now I want to just do it for the rest of my life, hopefully. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I've started my own YouTube channel recently. I think it was back in August, 10 days after I started the carnivore diet, and it's going really well. For me, it's just about getting the word out there. I haven't really suffered any major troubles in my life. I did have like high blood pressure, which the day I started carnivore, I stopped taking the tablets and I started putting salt on all my food, and my blood pressure is completely normal. Like it was normal within like 2 weeks. So that alone was like, wow, I can't believe that. Absolutely amazing. And loads of other benefits actually. So I mean, we might get onto that later on, but yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. And I've originally found it through a Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson video that I saw. I think a lot of people found it that way. I love Jordan Peterson. I think he's fantastic. And what that's done for him and his daughter, I just found it incredible. It was almost hard to believe. So I did a bit of research myself. First person I found was Dr. Ken Berry, and what a guy he is, what he's done for this lifestyle for millions of people probably now, with the ripple effect. How many people he's affected is incredible. And after listening to him, it just started making sense. You know, words like the proper human diet, what we should be eating, what we should be putting in our bodies, and the way he explains it was fantastic. And then shortly after that, I started getting Kerry's videos appearing. He's very up there, high ranked on YouTube, I think, when it comes to the carnivore diet. And I'm sure he's probably had more compliments from people than he can count, but there isn't enough compliments that he can get. For me, it's the passion that you've got, Kerry, is incredible, and it's sort of infectious, contagious, and it makes other people want to get the word out. Especially for me here in the UK, I don't think it's anywhere near what is happening over in America. I think it's only a small fraction. So that's another thing for my YouTube channel. I want to build that up, get the community going over here, get the word out, and hopefully one day we'll be having meetups and things like that as well.
Excellent. Kerry, have you got any questions for Paul?
Yeah, Paul, thank you for your nice words. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I think that the Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson video has helped so many people too. I get that comment a lot from people. So Paul, you said you're around day 70 or so?
Yeah, 79.
Oh, wow. So what are some of the biggest things you've noticed change for you?
Yeah, well, like I said, the blood pressure was a big thing. I've been taking tablets for quite a few years now. I was just, even though like I'd seen people saying that it worked for blood pressure, I was amazed that how quickly it worked. I've had emails from my doctor saying I need to come into the surgery and take blood pressure tests and stuff. I just totally ignored them because I'm doing them at home on a machine that I've used for years, and they are totally 100% normal. I've even posted some of my results up there on my Instagram channel so people can see them. I also had, when I was a child, I fell over and bashed my knee, and I had I've got like a big lump on my left knee. I burst my cartilage quite bad. And when I got into me early mid 20s, I would say, I was doing some basic training for the army, and I was getting pains in it then. And the doctor took a look at it and he says, when you get older, you could have big problems with that. And in my current job, I do a lot of walking. I work in an airport and I walk lots in my current job. And I was starting to get pains going up and down the stairs in that knee. Nothing horrendous, but I could feel it. And again, on this carnivore lifestyle, it's completely gone. I feel like I could actually just run up the stairs, which is incredible. I've lost about 15 pounds in weight. I was never massively overweight, but losing that 15 pounds has now took me down to about 167 pounds. So that's good. Like, that's given us more energy. I sleep less, but I don't need as much sleep. That's 100%. Like, I can have 4 or 5 hours and that does this. I do 12, 13-hour shifts at work, night shifts, day shifts, and I used to be yawning all the way through it. Now I'm perfectly fine. So my energy's gone through the roof. Mental clarity definitely improved as well. I do have meetings with the bosses and stuff, and just being able to talk better, not stuttering my words as much, and knowing what I've got to say, that's there. So yeah, there's lots of benefits, to be honest with you. I'm over the moon. I just want other people to know, like, especially over here. I know I had a live stream with a guy called Carnivore Soldier over in America. I don't know if you have heard of him. Larry, absolutely excellent. I did that a few days ago, and he said, like, he goes out speaking to people, and almost everybody he speaks to has heard of the carnivore diet. Well, over here, most people that I've come across haven't heard of it. So they might say something like, "Oh, do you mean the Atkins diet or the low carb diet?" They're not quite aware of exactly what the carnivore diet is, but I enjoy telling them. But I do get that's bad for you, you're going to die, like you're going to end up with a heart attack and things like that. So it's just trying to combat that. And I want to use this YouTube channel as well to build my own knowledge, so I'm not giving people false information. I'm not a doctor, so I definitely don't give medical information, but I try to just tell them what benefits it's done for me and other people. Thanks to Kerry again, I've watched all of Bill Knott's videos. I find them fascinating. Like you keep saying, Kerry talks so well. He does like 15-20 minute video and it flies by. So he's obviously doing a great job inspiring people. And even though I haven't got this big story of having to combat depression or losing hundreds of pounds of weight, I can pass their information on and their experiences on to other people as well. And I think that's a big thing that we can do over here in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had a question. So we always talk about in the United States, the standard American diet what's the situation over there in the UK? Is like your former diet versus now, or is what we're eating over here in America kind of similar over there?
Yeah. Obviously, I just changed the word American to Western. With the diet, I mean, what I was eating before I started the carnivore diet was, and I've never liked fruit and veg. I've always walked straight through that aisle in the supermarket, so I've never really ate much of that. But pizzas, kebabs, loads of takeaways, McDonald's whenever I could. I love McDonald's breakfasts. Chocolate, not massively, but I did like me chocolate, biscuits or cookies as you would call them over there. Just quick, easy things, that pot noodles, microwave meals, all processed stuff. I drank alcohol since I was 14, quite heavily most of the time in my adult life. And I started smoking when I was 12, smoked heavily most of my life. And I still do a little bit of vaping, which I know is not good, but that's just what I used to get us through. But that's what another thing I was concerned about. If I've lived my life this way, I'm 46 now, I might have been lucky in the sense that I've had no major illnesses, but what's going to happen if I keep eating this way and living that lifestyle by the time I get into my 50s and 60s or 70s, if I manage to get to that point? So yeah, I've cut all that out. I have had a few lapses and had a couple of bits of chocolate. I'm going to admit to that. The work colleagues party and I had some chocolate, but I could feel it straight away afterwards. I was getting sugar cravings for days and days after that. And I still get them now, really. And it's weird because I never had massive sweet tooth, as I like to call it, which is really sugar addiction. I never really had it massively compared to other people in my family, but I still, even now, after 79 days, if I see it, I don't know if it's just a psychological thing, but if I see it there, and I'm surrounded by it because my household's not doing carnivore, there's chocolate everywhere. So when I see it, I still get, I don't know if you can call it cravings, but I'm like, oh yeah, I would like to have some,
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm proud of myself, even though I've had a couple of lapses.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, there is some weird psychological thing. I haven't had that many cravings, and then I did this. I did a 5-day water fast, and it was the first time. Well, I shouldn't say it was the first time, but it was the significant time where all of a sudden I had those cravings again. We drove past this pizza place I used to go to back in the day, and I was like, "Ooh, I really want some of that now." I don't think it's something deep in my brain, like, dude, you haven't eaten anything in a couple of days or something. I don't know, but so what is your typical carnivore meal?
Well, every single morning I wake up and I have bacon and eggs, and I never ever get tired of it. Like literally, I'll have a full pack of bacon, at least 4 eggs, fried or scrambled. Yeah, cook it all in butter. So that's every single day, bacon and eggs. Love it. And then if it depends if I'm off work or if I'm at work, I can't afford to buy steaks all of the time. But I do try to have steak as much as I can, especially when I'm at home. Either lamb steaks or beef steaks, and at work I take a lot of ground mince or minced beef, as we would call it. But that I do find that gets a bit bland. I've spoke to a few people on YouTube who's given us some good ideas of things that I can add into it to make it better. I took some ground mince to work on my night shift last night, and I added some crushed up bacon into it. That definitely helped. And I have had some cheese on my burgers a few times. I don't have milk. Butter. I've had chicken. I don't really eat fish. I don't really like fish that much, so I haven't had that. But yeah, that's pretty much. I have had sausages as well, and I found it hard to find sausages that didn't have dextrose and sugar in them. So I've had to go to me butchers for that. And that's another thing with the butchers. Like even the butcher, she said she's heard of 2 people that's on carnivore. Like I live in a big populated area. She's heard of 2 people that other than me that's on carnivore, and you would have thought a butcher would have heard of more than that,
right?
But she's a good girl. She owns the butcher. She said she's happy to provide us with as much fat as I want, because I normally just bin the fat or bones, because I'm tempted to try and make some bone broth. I've never made that. Well, I have attempted to make it once and it was horrible, so I obviously didn't. I think I put too much water in. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, it definitely needs a lot of work over here. We're way behind.
Right. I wonder if those other 2 people are Alex and Lauren.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how far I am from Alex. You're where are you again?
Oh, you're on mute, Alex.
Definitely a delay.
I think we got a little delay with Alex.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Alex is Liverpool.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I'm just outside Liverpool, Paul.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I should have known by the accent. Yeah, so unless he's traveling a couple of 100 miles a day, I don't think he's going to the same witches as me. I'm not too far. I'm probably about 70 mile away from 70, 80 mile away from Lee, I think. Corpus, the Kent Carnivore. I spoke to him briefly on through some of his videos. Seems like a really nice guy. I've seen him obviously on your live stream as well. And I've spoke to Alex. There's a guy in the UK called Carnivore Cabby Mike. He's doing a good job. He started around the same time as me. So we have got a few people getting together, and like I say, I just want to grow that.
That's wonderful. I was just checking out your YouTube channel more. You got some really cool shorts. It's making me hungry looking at some of the steaks and stuff you're cooking up.
Yeah. I thought that's a good thing. Just somebody mentioned it once in a video, and I thought it's nice and quick and get them up there. So I've posted a few of them up. But yeah, I'm not like a good chef or anything like that. It's just basic stuff. But a lot of people seem to like it. So
yeah, those are cool. I've got a link to UK Carnivore guy in the description below, so everyone go check him out and subscribe. One other question I had was, have you had any other, like, I call them carnivore epiphanies, but since you've been doing this for a while now, where you're like, wow, that was really what I used to think about this before was really backwards or messed up, or anything else kind of like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a little bit of a conspiracy theorist anyway, to be honest with you, but the way we just seem to be programmed and conditioned to have sugar from pretty much from once you stop having milk. You've got your birthdays, you've got your Christmas, you've got your Easter, you've got your Halloween. Everything's focused around sugar. And when I go to the supermarket, I mentioned this on the live stream with the Carnivore Soldier as well. When I go to the supermarket now, I'm looking in people's trolleys and I'm seeing what they've got, and I'm seeing you clearly see they're either overweight or they've got illnesses, that are struggling to walk, things like that. And I didn't even notice that stuff before. You know, I was just going to the supermarket to get my own stuff in my own little world. But yeah, go straight in, down the meat aisle, maybe get some sparkling water down another aisle, and I'm out again. But it makes you realize, like, to me, we've just been lied to for so long, and I'm surprised it's took me to the age of 46 to figure it out. Like, how did it take me so long? And it's because my parents were taught the same thing, their parents were taught the same thing, so it's just conditioned all the way through to us, and it's up to us to try and break that chain. I've got a 2-year-old baby girl now, and she's got a terrible diet. She just refuses to eat hardly anything that's good for you. She's got loads of sugar. But my child's mother, she's into the standard Western diet as well. So it's difficult. You can't force it on people. And you want to see stuff, but you don't want to come across as mental either. But yeah, people have to find their reason for wanting to do it. And once they find their reason, they have to do it themselves. I mean, you can't really hold anybody's hand. You can give them the information. But yeah, that was one thing I was surprised at, really surprised at. Like, even I know Dr. Shafi's mentioned about Harvard professors being paid by sugar companies and big pharma and that to say certain things. I mean, I know there's corruption there. There's obviously corruption in almost every government or food agency in the world, but to be so blatant about it, you know what I mean? It's really. So yeah, that's probably my biggest surprise.
Likewise, yeah, mine too. It's like you said, I was born that way. My parents did it. My kids too. Sugar everywhere. But
yeah,
it is crazy, and that's my big epiphany afterwards too. It's like we're just living in a world of addicts. They're all just addicted. I'm not judging them because I was there too, but it is really a weird thing. Going to the grocery store too, it's just like every single product has sugar in it. Every single holiday, sugar. It's a crazy thing. Then it gets deeper too. It's not even really conspiracy theory, but like you said with the studies, there's so many studies that demonize meat, and you look into those. Sugar, like Kellogg's, it's like the cereal companies, and then afterwards, when you think about it, you're like, yeah, well, this just makes sense. Like if the sugar companies demonize meat, what are people going to do? They're going to avoid meat. What's left to eat? They'll have salad for a couple of days. They'll get hungry, and then they'll be eating more sugar and more sugar. It's like a great way to sell a ton of sugar. It's just money, just business.
Yeah,
So,
it is. If it's profitable, then there's always going to be somebody who wants to take advantage of it. And I've had, like, even just this morning, I've had conversations on X, formerly Twitter, with vegans and that. I mean, I should just keep my mouth shut, but I do get involved sometimes with the conversations there. And some of them are saying, I don't believe in the exploitation of animals for food consumption. So I'm like, what, all animals, or just the big ones that fart in the fields? Are you talking about the ones that get destroyed during crop processing? And they've always got an answer for something, of course. And I'm not like against them. Like you said, they're trying to find their own way of living a healthy life. But I just think they seem to be a little bit closed-minded compared to, like, carnivores. I like to watch content that does conflict with my own beliefs. I'll watch vegan YouTubers and listen to what they've got to say. But going off the facts and the research that I've done, listening to the other doctors, all these amazing doctors that you've spoke to and had on your channel, like, it just makes sense. I mean, what we were doing, for hundreds of thousands of years, even longer, there wasn't mechanically grown fruit and vegetables for people to eat back in the cavemen time. So we survived that. We came through it. So for me, it just makes perfect sense. And when people call it the proper human diet, that's a 100% fact to me.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I know I've talked about it before, but I really think carnivore is the most compassionate diet. I try to be careful too, not to get into comparisons and stuff like that too. But the thing with the vegans is, like, they're so compassionate. So it's like, that's wonderful. But then you got to look at the facts. There's so many animals and ecosystems and insects and squirrels and birds and deers and everything that end up dying from pesticide poisoning and from processing all of that stuff. Meanwhile, I get one cow down the road. One cow has a happy life, dies. I get hundreds of meals off of that one animal. I don't think there's anything more compassionate about that. Plus, Dr. Chafee's done so many good videos on that too, where it's like, how are you going to, when we went to visit Maggie too, oh my goodness, I can't wait to share some of what she was talking about. But she's like, it's a huge problem in the world right now. You grow plants and you grow stuff. You take that out of the soil, you take all the nutrients out of the soil, but nobody's putting it back in. You don't have cows pooping and refertilizing it. That's a huge, huge problem in this, like, vegan utopia. Like, how is that going to be solved? It doesn't make any sense. And the soil around the world, I heard Dr. Chafee talk about this too. It's like, it's turning into dust. There's like nothing left in it. They just have to put so many chemicals and fertilizers in it just to grow a little carrot or something like that. And they take all that nutrients out and they don't put anything back in. It's not sustainable. So
no, and it does worry us a little bit. I mean, what's going to happen in the future if these big farmers and big sugar companies stop making as much profit because everybody realizes the benefits of carnivore? What they're going to do, because they'll do something to try and stop it. I know what you're saying, Maggie's talked about it before, that ranchers are not going to be able to afford to have ranchers anymore. Meat would just become possibly too expensive, or I've even heard about possible taxations on eating meat or limiting how much people can eat and things like that. If big companies, big farmers stop making as much profit, they will do stuff to try and demonize it even more, or punish people in a way for living that kind of lifestyle. So that worries us a little bit in the future. I don't know. There's always, I suppose, a way around it if we all grow together and find local source stuff. But to get the shop bought supermarket foods, that could become very difficult in the future, I think. Possibly. I don't know. I know that sounds a bit of a conspiracy as well.
No, I think you're right. That was the biggest message Maggie had. In fact, she did that video with Dr. Chafee, and she was kind of upset afterwards because she was like, no, I want people to hear this. What's going to happen if everyone starts eating meat? What's going to happen if Maggie stops doing the work, or my neighbor stops doing the work, or the next generation doesn't take over? It is a scary kind of thought. That's why my only answer at this point was us YouTubers. We got to do more videos and support these local farmers like Lauren and my neighbor and Maggie. And I said this before when I visited Maggie. If anyone is out there and you're a YouTuber and you want to go do a video on your neighbor that's a local rancher or farmer, I'll help promote the heck out of that. We should raise those voices up. My poor neighbor down here, thank goodness for him. He's so passionate. He's been 6th-generation farmer, but he's
Yeah.
literally some years paying to farm or making pennies, just working crazy hours and then working full time at a factory in between because he can't make ends meet. And he's a wonderful steward of the land. He treats all the animals just wonderfully. Yeah, when I left doing that video with him, I'm like, I can't see the future generation picking up and saying, yeah, I'll pay to be a local farmer and do all of this work for free while working at a factory, just working incredibly hard. So yeah, we gotta raise up those voices and give those people more credit for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it is a lot of work doing a farm, I can imagine. I've never had to do, but just I've watched them videos that you're talking about with your neighbour, and you can see he's putting in a lot of graft, he's putting a lot of work in. And he loves what he's doing. He's very knowledgeable. So people like that, I think, are a dying breed. I know most young people in the UK are more interested in being on computer games or starting their own YouTube channel, which is fine as long as you're promoting the right things.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be difficult. I think we're going to have some challenges ahead in the future, but hopefully, we, like you say, we find a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Alex, did you have a question? Sorry, I know you got a little delay.
Yeah. I was going to ask a couple of questions about Paul's journey so far. What would be the best 3 tips you could give anybody starting carnivore today from your experience? Yeah,
I think the first one is obviously do your own research. Don't just throw yourself straight into it. I didn't really transition. I did have a couple of I started and then 2 weeks later I went on holiday to Amsterdam. So in that period on holiday, I had some alcohol and I had some McDonald's breakfast. So I suppose you could class that as a little bit of a transition. But I suffered with explosive diarrhea. I don't want to go into too much detail. Having keto headaches, I suppose you would call it as well. So yeah, ideally I would say transition a bit more, transition over a couple of weeks. It's not going to make that much difference if you do it over a 2-week period. So that's a good thing. Secondly, don't worry too much about having, all the most expensive top grade meat you can buy from the butchers, 25 days matured. If you can't afford that, just buy the store-bought stuff. That's pretty much 90% what I eat, and I'm feeling all the benefits. So I would not worry about that too much. And then thirdly, I think join a community. I joined Dr. Carnviores' community for a little while there, and then this YouTube community is massive now as well. Even if they're not in your direct area, just speaking to people, you can tell them your struggles. I could easily go on many YouTube channels and comment saying I'm struggling with this, or can anybody give us some tips with that? And there's always going to be somebody that replies. It's fantastic in that way. I think this community is one of the best ones. And I've had YouTube channels in the past as well. I've had a football YouTube channel. I've had my own YouTube channel years ago as well, with decent sized communities in them. But this carnivore community seems like on a different level. They're so wanting to help other people. They're interested. It's just a great place to be involved with. So yeah, they're probably my top 3 tips when you get started, and just take it do the best you can to start off with, and then hopefully as you go along you'll get more strict and things will get easier for you. But I think when you start noticing all these benefits, which can start happening from day one, I'm sure it was Kerry that said he stopped snoring after one day of doing it. So yeah, little things like that can start straight away, and then after a couple of weeks you'll notice it. By 30 days it'll get better and better, and if you stick with it, it's just going to get better. So that would be my 3 top tips.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks. Family and friends, are they on board?
Not really. Like I say, my household's on Western diet. Me dad's on statins, but he's asked questions, but he's not tried it. My mother, she tried it for, I think it was a week or 2, and she just got sick of eating meat, she said. And I was like, right. I mean, like I say, I'm trying not to push it. It's so easy to just talk about and push it on. I think you can end up pushing people away. She is definitely interested in it, and she can see the benefits. There's nobody that's telling us I shouldn't be doing it, put it that way. Who else? My brother, he's tried it for a while. He actually enjoyed it. He's lost some weight. he's had a slip up, but he is talking about getting back on it. And then his wife, she did it for about 2 or 3 weeks as well. No, it might be longer, maybe 6 weeks. She wanted to lose weight for a holiday. I know it's not like an excellent why, but she lost over a stone, and she's sticking to it as well. So there is some benefit, but if, like I say, she does well, and then she talks to other people about it. It can, one small droplet can fly massively and cause a big ripple effect. So yeah, I've talked to people at work about it. No, like I said, I've had no negative apart from the odd colleague saying, you're going to die. And I just tell them, do your own research. It's making me feel better.
Yeah.
So if it's making me feel better, I'm going to keep doing it. Like I said, I don't want to get into too much detail with people that are not really interested. That's why YouTube's good, because normally people that are watching your videos have found them because it's been recommended. They've watched something that you're talking about, so that they've got some kind of interest in what you're seeing. So that's why I use YouTube as my main outlet. But obviously, if somebody asked us about it, I'd happily tell them about it.
Yeah. Having a look at some of your thumbnails, I know for a fact that you're a big fan of a Mr. Dr. Ken Berry.
Yeah, it was Kerry's. He was talking about his finger, so I started using that on the thumbnails, just as sort of tip of the hat to him. Yeah, because I've watched not all of them, but I've watched so many of his videos. I watch his live streams as well. Him and his family just seem fantastic. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a copycat thing, but I do enjoy listening to Ken Berry. So I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, this is what blew me away as a probably UK carnivore. Every time I watch the video, was it Eureka moments? It's so much common sense. And I'm thinking to myself, like you, why didn't I pick up on this years ago? Obviously, I know they weren't on. And it goes back to the old days of eating, but a bit of a conspiracy theorist myself. It's trying to break out of that matrix of the addiction we've had for all these years. I've had my addictions for 60 odd years. I break out of it, and people who see me from day to day suddenly go, this guy's changed. You offer them the change, but they're not ready for it, are they? I think mentally, not just physically, but mentally, they're not ready for it.
No, it is difficult for a lot of people because it goes against everything they've ever been told, even from people they trust, like doctors. Like my doctor always said, stop putting salt on your food. So, it goes against everything that they've been told. I find it strange, like how I've took so long in particular. I know you're seeing the same thing, but like, now that I've found it, I just need to get the word out as much as I can and try and be factual about it. I don't want to give false information to people, like I say. So that's why building my knowledge up, talking to people like yourselves, it's fantastic. It's so useful to me, and I'm hoping family members will eventually come around to it. A lot of the times people say they need a big why before they start doing it. So yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be in the hospital bed before they think, I need to give this a try, It gets to that point of desperation, and like the word Kerry uses as well, hopelessness. If we can stop people from feeling that way, or just give them a bit of knowledge that then they steer into their own journey, then that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't wait too long. Sorry, Alex, you got a little delay. I was just gonna say, hopefully they don't wait too long. I know we got Leon later, and that was one thing he said to me that really, I'm like, yep, you got to just do their example. And some people are going to get to a point where they're rock bottom, and that's what it's going to take for them to start. But then they might lose their colon forever, like Lee did, or my friend Jeff DeProsperous, who sadly has stage 4 cancer. He's like, I waited too long. Like he said, I caused my cancer from eating this highly inflammatory food and putting these stresses on my body my entire life. So that's the one tricky part for me, because I was like, yep, I'm just going to put my example out there. But now I'm like, man, don't wait too long. You're messing around. This is people that are scared of carnivore. You should be scared of not doing carnivore. You should be scared of chronic inflammation your entire life and what that's going to cause, because everyone that's sick in the world, chronic inflammation. It's not from doing carnivore. Everyone that's having heart attacks and strokes and mental health issues and cancers, it's from chronic inflammation. It's not from doing carnivore diet. So
yeah. And why do you think doctors never ask about diet? Do you think that they really just don't have a clue? They do not know?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
why they're not seeing? One of the first things they should be asking people with things like arthritis. I mean, even I had no idea that high sugar, high carb could cause depression and anxiety. Like that
Mhm.
was like the furthest thing from reality to me. I was married previously, and she struggled really bad with panic attacks to the point where we could be in a shopping centre and she could be grabbing hold of us, like falling to our knees in a supermarket, packed with people, screaming her eyes out. It was horrendous, and it would come from absolutely nowhere. Like if I'd been armed with this knowledge back then, I could have made a massive difference to her life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's strange to think that, you know, it's all a chemical like imbalance that these foods is causing people. The doctors should know this sort of stuff, you know. If we know it, how come they don't know it? It's really strange.
Yeah.
That's one of my things with the documentary. Someone asked me if you could get no other thing across, that would be it. Is so many of the things we go to our doctor for is just nutrition, and the only answer they ever have is medicine. And it's insane. I know I've said it before, but you take your dog to the vet, the first thing they ask you is, what did you feed this animal? And the doctors never ask that. It's insane. I know they're not nutritionists, but if you're going in there for a problem that they clearly can't help you with, and then they're just going to give you pills because they're, well, this is all I can do, at least send you to a nutritionist or someone. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you know, exactly 100%. That's another thing I used to get quite a bit as well before on the Western diet. I used to get a lot of heartburn. Now that is obviously acid. That's clearly something to do with what you're eating when you think about it logically. I used to get heartburn from just drinking water. It was that bad. And you know that I've never had that once since I've been on this diet. Not even once. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm not probably eating the things that would cause that. So that's why things like pies, pastries, they would give us. I used to get migraines as well with chocolate or certain cheese, coffee. I've always drank decaf coffee. Even certain strip lightens in the office and that they could give us like blurred vision, pains behind my eyes, horrendous. But they've completely gone as well. So it's just many different things. I've just thought about them now. Many different little things that it's improved my life with. And I just can't recommend it enough to anybody else that's interested in doing it. Just do your research and get started as soon as you can.
Absolutely.
Question for you,
Alia.
Paul. So is this going to be long term for you?
Yeah, that's the plan now. Like I say, originally to do the 30 days, and then I thought, right, it's going well, I'll do the 90 days. But obviously, I've kept watching YouTube videos since I've started as well. Like every single night I'm off work, I'm watching them. Even at work, sometimes if I've got a bit of downtime, I've got the YouTube on, and it's opened my eyes up fully. Like I do plan on doing this for the rest of my life. I don't expect to be perfect. I know for a fact I will have slip ups along the way, but I'll just get straight back on it. That's one of the things. Another thing I've mentioned a few times now on my channel, the Carnivore Soul just said a quote called, "Don't let perfection get in the way of excellence." And I've used that myself, not as an excuse to eat whatever I want, but if I do mess up, then, you know, it's not a case of, right, you can't do it anymore. You've messed up, right? Just go back to the way you were. Just keep doing it. You know what I mean? Get back on it the next day. And if you mess up on your birthday or whatever, it's not the end of the world. If you want to have a couple of beers on your birthday, you're not going to suddenly not be carnivore anymore. You know what I mean? You've got to give yourself a break, but be as strict as you can, because how much difference it makes is worth it. You know, I'd love to do the lion diet at some point. I think doing 30 days of that is something that I'm going to challenge myself to in the future. But I do love the idea, what you mentioned earlier on before I got on the call here, about having a meetup in the UK. I'd be well up for that. Like I say, I'm not too far away from Kent Carnivore, I don't believe. And even Carnivore Cabby as well. He's not that far from me. So there's a few of us we could get together and make it a good sort of YouTube gathering.
Yeah. Well, Kerry, you're planning to come over to UK sometime. Any sort of timestamp on that?
No, I wish I had a better answer. Sooner rather than later. I have my passport, so but in the near future, we're going to Chicago to film Dr. Hampton, and then I'm going to Canada again to film Jeff DeProsperous. And then after that, I'm not quite sure yet. It's going to be more the US, I think, first, and then over the ocean. So
Yeah.
but I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how things play out, because I definitely want to get over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely an open invitation. I mean, the likes of Paul, Mike the Carnivore Cabby, Lauren, Lee. I mean, I'm sure Paul's going to do the same as me, but I want to sort of scout out and try and do some more live streams with UK Carnivores. And like your Chicago meetup, I think we could have a fantastic time combining a meetup with obviously your Carnivore Diet Movie trip.
Yeah, for sure. I think Chicago will be a good learning experience. That'll be our first one.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what would happen, and that thing just went crazy. Like,
I was watching the live
quick.
stream for that. That was amazing. Like the amount of $100 donations are coming through there. I was like, wow! Like you had the perfect guest alongside you as well. He's so passionate as well.
JT, yeah.
I watched the whole thing. It was fascinating. I was like, I can't believe every single person that put their name down to go to that got to go.
It was unbelievable. I was literally crying during that live stream. That was just a random live stream too. It was last minute. I was like, "Hey JT, you want to jump on?" I was like, "Oh, we'll mention the Chicago thing." And yeah, like Paul said, that was crazy. One person said, "Oh, I'll pay $50 for someone else to go." And then the next person was like, "I'll pay 100 and they can bring a guest." And then it just kept going. It was like another 100, 150, 200. So all of these individuals that wanted to go got to go, including a couple members that are on the channel too, like Carnivorous Grandma, Robin Heron, which is really cool because I was kind of looking forward to meeting her. So yeah, that was wonderful. Yeah, so we'll learn a lot in Chicago, and then I'm hoping to do it over there in the UK, and then we're hoping to do that in a bunch of locations. So we got to film quite a bit down in Florida, for example. So we'll do one everywhere we're gonna go. I'm gonna try to do one. So I love meeting carnivores. It's so hard. You got to surround yourself. That's why like Dr. Barry and some of these groups are wonderful, because you got to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. And when you're kind of all by yourself and you're going to the grocery store and everyone's eating sugar and you're going to the birthday parties and everyone's so different, it's really fun talking to some like-minded, cool people, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think well, I was going to say sow the seeds. It's a bad pun, but I think we could have a meetup at the Lauren's farm. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you some ideas.
Love it. Yeah. We'll have to talk to her about that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Not
So
a
getting
better
back to you, Paul. Sorry, can I get back to Paul? Kerry and myself have documented our moods and mental issues in the past. Has it affected you positively in any way? Whether your moods or your mental clarity or I mean, I was quite depressed. I didn't realize it, but have you seen any changes yourself?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I've had days where I've been down and stuff like that, and it's literally since me, I've been going through a lot of personal stresses in my personal life, which normally I would use like cigarettes and alcohol and food to comfort me with that. But I've managed to stick, well, since August anyway, I've managed to stick to this carnivore diet, which is, I've impressed myself with it, to be honest with you. But I think it was because I was just so eager to get started and so determined to do it. I'm not going to get into the stresses that I've had, because I'm not after any sort of attention from that. But I have impressed myself. So I think before, when I was on the standard Western diet, because I wasn't sleeping well and I didn't, I just wake up grumpy quite a lot of the time. I'd take it out on family members, and I was just always, not like depressed, but I get annoyed about things quite easily. I could be cooking a fried egg, and if the yolk burst, I'd start swearing. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally stupid things like that. And so my mood has improved massively in that way. I'm a lot calmer now. I've always been relatively chilled out at work, to be honest with you. I'm quite happy with people, and I like to be approachable, things like that. But yeah, I think the main thing is just less irritable. But I think that's mainly because I'm sleeping like less but better. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, I'm sleeping less, but I wake up refreshed. So I think that is the only thing I can pinpoint when it comes to mentality.
Yeah, I was called Victor Meldrew. I was always stroppy and critical of things, and on Facebook being a keyboard warrior. But for the last 17 months, I'm just in a calm place. I don't do yoga, but Michelle says to me, I come across as if I'm on a yoga session every week. Nothing phases me at all when I'm driving, no situations at work. And you come across really calm anyway. So, as I say, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I am generally calm. I mean, some of my ex-partners might disagree with you, but I have, you know, I do try to stay calm, especially with us having high blood pressure for a while. Like something I've worked on, trying to stay calm. I haven't done any meditation either, but yeah, I do believe that sort of stuff helps you. But to be honest with you, if I needed to do it, I would. But I feel fine at the moment. Since I've started this, I've got no reason to worry about it. It's just like I say, one of them things. I try to encourage other people to find their own way, and that's all I'm going to continue doing. I do want to apologize as well if my accent is bothered anybody. I know on the Carnivore Soldier stream, people were saying they didn't understand what I was saying. Maybe my accent was a bit strong. They wanted to translate and things like that. So yeah, if my accent's been a bit strong, I apologize for that. But that is the way I talk. I'm from the northeast of England originally, so right up closer towards Scotland area. And then I moved down here about 9 years ago. So it's actually a lot milder than it used to be.
I could hear every word. Don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you'd understand. Thanks, Kerry.
Kerry, any other questions?
No, I don't think so. This has been great. Just a big shout out, UK Carnivore guy, link in the description. Go subscribe, check him out. Give him some love. Watch some of his videos. I'm going to be watching your shorts for sure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Mommy. Yeah. Well, look, Paul,
I had a question.
Sorry,
I had a question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll go on mute in a second. It's kind of loud in my background. But why should people donate to the Carnivore Diet documentary?
Well,
that's my question.
Yeah, that's one of the easiest questions I've had ever. Because it will save people's lives. Literally, you don't have to be a paramedic. You don't have to be a doctor. You just have to get this word out. And that documentary is going to, which I've got no doubt is definitely going to happen. You know, with somebody like Kerry's passion, there's no doubt in my mind that it's going to happen. And that could potentially save millions of people, in my opinion. So if you like saving people's lives, yeah, without being a first responder, you know, do what you can, donate to the documentary. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it to come out. Like,
thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah, I can't wait for it to come out either.
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, I was going to ask you, have you got any questions?
Oh, on the spot. Let's have a think. There must be something. What? So, Kerry, you're on like 200 and something now, aren't you? Is it 230 something days?
222.
222. So, do you have like any struggles at all when it comes to food now? Like, I know you mentioned the pizza thing, but do you still sometimes think, like, sometimes in your head it does come in, I must admit, where I go, like, I'm enjoying it, but I've got to do this for the rest of your life. Like, it seems very daunting. Do you still get anything like that in your head?
Yeah, that's a great question. I could see how people do. I don't. Other than that time I fasted and I wanted some pizza, but I was so addicted. I have no moderation. Like, if I had one little piece of, if I had one little piece of candy sugar, I would go off the rails for like a week. So just the thought of going back to doing that doesn't interest me at all. And I really wouldn't it shift, because I was doing the same thing as you, Paul. I was like, I'm going to just do this for 30 days. By the way, quick side story. I always tell people that too. I'm like, just do this for 30 days and then quit. You can go back to your cupcake. Because after 30 days, they're going to be like, oh, I feel so good. Why would I go back to the cupcakes? I started to realize, I think after talking to Dr. Chafee in particular, when he gave me this whole thing about every species of animal eats one type of food that they're intended to eat. And humans with our big, huge brains, we're the only foolish ones eating all of this other stuff. And we're the only ones getting sick and disease and all of this. So when I started thinking about that more, I'm like, yeah, it's so true. I feel so much better. I still get people saying to me, aren't you going to miss eating a cupcake? Or what about just a piece of broccoli or all this? I don't really, I'm like, what would that give me? I've been doing this for 222 days. I'm literally getting everything I need from meat. I've had some blood work done. Everything's perfect. I'm not lacking for anything. I'm not craving anything. So I think at some point in my head, I'm like, I'm just doing this forever. And I finally just kind of accepted it. So,
Yeah.
but I totally see how people do. And every now and then from time to time, I get the weird craving, but it's like this primal thing in my brain, like from some weird level of subconscious, like, oh, go eat that pizza kind of thing. But it usually goes away pretty quickly, or I just eat some bacon and it goes away. So,
Yeah. That's excellent. You're not getting any sort of issues with your health at all now. Then you were 100%. You're not getting any. You don't get headaches anymore. You don't get cramps. You've got your fine tuned it down to a T.
The only thing that's happened, nothing. It's just incredible. And 222 days, no sniffles, no colds. Man, I had colds and sniffles and all this stuff before. What you had mentioned earlier, Paul, the acid reflux. I had that horribly. I was on omazepam for years, which I was always like, why do I have to keep taking this? Shouldn't this medicine fix it? And it never fixed it. It didn't even really help.
Yeah.
I have nothing. The only issue that I ever had on carnivore that was a surprise or shocker for me happened. I did a video on this a while ago, but it was smooth sailing for me for months. Like I would forget to eat sometimes, and it was when I had a lot more body fat. And it's a beautiful time to be on carnivore. I always tell people, like Bill, for example, I'm like, you're going to be in this stage for a while, but you should enjoy it, because when you're burning that body fat you have on you, carnivore is so easy. And then you have all these other things with the inflammation and the snoring and the sleep improving.
Yes.
When I got down to my goal weight, I wasn't expecting this to happen, but I just got ravenously hungry. I was just eating. I'm like, what is going on? I'm so hungry. And
you did a video about the 5 stages, wasn't it? Was that recently?
Yeah, stage 4. Yeah. That was the only kind of weird thing where I questioned, like, can I do this forever? Because if I have to eat this much food forever, because there was a couple days in there, but that lasted a couple weeks. I still do eat. I eat a lot more now than I did in the beginning stages of carnivore when I had the body fat to burn, but it's nothing like that. Those first couple days when that first happened, it was so funny too, because I just, on the 24-hour live stream, I talked to Ryan Murphy from Against the Grain, and he messaged me and he was like, Kerry, this weird thing's happening. And it was the same time as mine. It was the same thing for him. He had just lost all his body fat and he was just starving and just eating everything. He's like, I can't get full no matter how much I eat. That was the only weird thing that happened to me on carnivore, but that has passed. So yeah, I'm in this for life. No questions asked. And yeah, everything a million times better, but yeah, no issues, no headaches, no sickness, nothing. All my blood work came back. It all looks perfect. I'm going in for a big thing of blood work and heart tests in December. Because that was the other crazy thing, is my irregular heartbeat I've had since I was born has reversed on carnivore, which is just insane to me. So I'm going in to get some with the cardiologist, not just to check my heart, but to check the ejection fraction and all the other deeper tests they can do on my heart. But yeah, everything's great. I'm in this for life for sure.
Yeah. Excellent. That's great to hear. Well, I do want to say a big thanks for having us on. I really do appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. Everybody in here, keep doing what you're doing, because it's fantastic stuff. That's, like I said before, it's going to save people's lives or massively improve people's lives as well. So I do appreciate that. I have got a night shift tonight, unfortunately, 13-hour night shift, because the clock's changed. So instead of a 12-hour shift, I've got 13 hours. So I'm going to try and get a little bit of a nap in. I shouldn't need one because I'm carnivore, but I'm going to try anyway. So yeah, thanks again, everybody, for having us in. I really do appreciate it. And everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you donate to the documentary. All the information is in the description. And thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. Really appreciate you as well.
No worries. Thanks a lot. Take care. Thanks, Alex.
Okay, thanks Paul. Take care.
Thanks, Alia. Thanks, Graham. Cheers. How do I come out? There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
I just want to say my kids are awake and I got to head to the airport in an hour. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Alia. Hey, shout out Alia Wells. Go. I have a link for her YouTube channel. Go subscribe. Give her some love. I really appreciate it. Seriously, like a huge part, I mean this sincerely, a huge part of this carnivore diet documentary is because of Alia Wells and her fundraising. The 24-hour live stream was her idea, and then we've raised funds to keep filming and get out there. So thank you, Alia. Go check her out. Subscribe. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, and I'll talk to y'all later. And donate. Everybody, donate. Let's get this done. And
Thanks,
I'll see
Alia.
many
Thank you.
people in Chicago. Very excited about that.
Yes, that's gonna be
See y'all
fun.
soon. And my daughter wants to say hello.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See you later. Bye.
Okay, bye.
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 Awesome.
Okay.
Righto.
Kerry, we've got some time now. Can you do me a favor and go through more updates on the diet movie, and maybe we can cover the questions and answers as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So on the Carnivore Diet Movie, what else can I say about it? We're one big thing I didn't mention earlier, I might have alluded to it a little bit, is we're working on a pre-trailer trailer. So the movie isn't done yet, obviously, but we filmed Bill, we filmed Maggie. We've done a ton of live streams with all these individual doctors. So we have enough to put together kind of a trailer. It's not going to be the final trailer because there's going to be more people, obviously, that come into it, but we're putting this together. I did a first version of it yesterday. I can't quite share it here now, but I'm hoping to share it with everyone soon. I can't wait to share that because there's so much stuff I can't show on YouTube. Like I mentioned earlier, if it's on YouTube, it can't go in the doc, Netflix or any of these big streaming services, but we can show it in the trailer. We have some incredible footage of Maggie and Bill that is going to be in this trailer. And then we're working to expand the trailer because we're going to use it for submitting it to some of these studios. So that's a big thing. The other thing I mentioned earlier, this is just a few minutes. We have Lauren's her carnivore testimony. What do you think, Alex? Maybe I'll share that quick. It's just a couple minutes. It's incredible. The other reason I want to share this too is because we're looking for more of these. So please, if you want, either email it to me or hold on to it. I don't know if we're going to have time in Chicago, but when we do these other meetups, a lot of times we're going to do it like the meetup we're doing in Chicago. We've rented out a banquet room, and Adam and I are going to film in the banquet room some carnivores for the documentary, as well as Dr. Hampton. But we were going to also invite people to do their hope segment. We call these hope segments. It was highly optimistic personal experiences. That's what we called it for the 24-hour live stream. But basically what it is like 4 minutes or 5 minutes. I went on carnivore. This is the reason why, and this is what happened. And Lauren, who was on earlier, she had one of the best ones. I've watched it several times and we showed it. So I'm going to show that real quick. I think you guys will really like this if you haven't seen it before. She does a wonderful job. So let me just present this here. 1 second. Video file. There we go. This is all right. Here we go. Alex, I think you might have to click on it below because you're the host.
Hold on.
You should see it below. I think if you like double click on it, you can make it full screen or something.
Yeah. Where am I looking?
It should be on the bottom, like where you see new guests appear.
No, not yet. I've got. Oh yeah, got it. Okay, ready.
Hi everybody, my name is Lauren and I'm from Farmer's Wife Carnivore Life. I'm just doing a quick video today just to put
Should be coming through.
in short
Here we go.
my carnivore journey to try and inspire as many people as we can for this carnivore diet documentary that Kerry at Home Said How has very kindly started putting together and making this happen, which is really, really exciting. So going back to April 2022 last year, I became very, very sick. I had a lot of symptoms, a lot of ailments. My main one was something called LPR, which they also call silent reflux, which is a lump in the throat and just a feeling of obstruction. I couldn't eat anything. I lost a lot of weight. Every time I did try to eat something, I felt like my food was getting stuck. I went down to my lowest weight that I had been since I was an early teenager, getting down to about 7 stone and 10 pounds, which was really not a good look for me. I was very, very underweight. I just couldn't eat anything. Every time I ate something, I would react. And even healthy foods, such as vegetables and fruits and nuts and seeds and all different things, I was still having reactions to. I would get swollen eyes, styes in my eyes, stuffy nose, ulcers on my tongue, a sore mouth, earache. I had chronic UTIs, chronic yeast infections, verrucas on my feet, Raynaud's syndrome, which is where your hands go very stiff and almost like joint pain, a bit like, feels like what I think arthritis would feel like, very painful in your hands, and they go very cold. I was very sensitive to the cold and never ever felt warm. I had a whole host of issues that I needed sorting, but because of all of these, I started to suffer from severe depression, suicidal depression. I began to think to myself, if I have to live like this with all these problems, then I just would rather not live. So I drastically had to take some measure to try and prevent me from having this debilitating depression. So I went to the doctor, and I got put on pills after pill. One was an acid blocker to try and get rid of this lump in my throat. And I came away, started taking that, did not get better at all. In fact, I got worse and worse. Went back to the doctor, and then of course I got given a double dose of my acid blocker. So they said take more and a higher dose as well. Came away, again, was just getting worse and worse. I then went back to the doctor with my debilitating depression because of feeling like this with all my other symptoms, and I then got put on an antidepressant. So I came away, I was on acid blockers, antidepressants, and they also wanted to give me something for my anxiety as well, because I was struggling doing my everyday tasks and I was getting anxious just to leave the house. So after realizing that none of those were working and not doing me any good, I took matters into my own hands and I found a herbalist and went down a herbal route. She was the first person to suggest that I cut out things from my diet. She suggested I cut out dairy. She suggested I cut out gluten, which I did, and I felt better to a certain extent, but I still wasn't fully healed. It wasn't until one day I was making my lovely family a roast dinner, and it was roast lamb, and I took that roast lamb out of the oven and I smelt it and saw the fat, and my body was just telling me to eat that food, eat that lamb, eat that fat. So I actually googled if eating meat was that bad for you, and I came across the carnivore diet, luckily, and I have been on the carnivore diet for 3 months, and I've managed to heal all of my problems. My tinnitus went away, my energy improved, my sleep got better, the lump in my throat has gone, I get no acid reflux, I get no food reactions, I have no styes in my eyes, no ulcers in my mouth, no sore mouth, no Raynaud's, no joint pain. All of these things just started clearing up within the 3 months. I am left with 3 symptoms. One is I still have floaters in my eyes. Another is I still have skin tags on my neck. And another one is I still haven't had a period. I haven't had a period for a long time. But I'm hoping that I can also heal all these things with the carnivore diet. So please, please follow me or subscribe to my channel at Farmer's Wife Carnivore Life and join me on my journey. And hopefully you guys can help me as well. And hopefully I can help you. So cheers.
Awesome. And a couple of those things she mentioned at the end still have since resolved since that video, because that was from the 24-hour live stream. But yeah, she's wonderful. I have a link again in the description to her YouTube channel as well. So everyone go check out Lauren. She's the best. Should we answer a few questions?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's see. I think sorry, Alex, I should have jumped on that thing. I don't have the ability to click on the questions to show them on the screen. So maybe if you want to click on them, and then I'll maybe take a first shot at some of these.
Yeah, this will be a good experience for me.
Yeah, I don't know if I think we got some of these super chats, like the Josh Brown one. But if you look on the side, it should say live and then starred. If you click on the starred ones, you should see.
Okay, here we go. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I'm going to go past Alia. We've gone past Josh. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, here we go. Have we tried this one yet, Lisa?
I think this is a new one. Let's see. Question: is it possible to not be fat adapted after 8 months on carnivore? Whew. Healing is very much slower than hubby, also 8 months. AM urine ketones are light, still get high reading in PM. Is my body wasting ketones? That's a tough question. Wow. After 8 months, you should be fat adapted by that time for sure. It is always tricky. I know I say this and fully admit it. It's different people take different. Everyone's different. I think it's a lot easier for men in some cases than it is for women. Age can play into it too. Probably maybe genetics. I'm not sure. One thing that I would suggest is those urine ketone tests. They're pretty bad. They're not that accurate.
Yeah.
I have the Keto Mojo, and actually I just sent one to my friend Jeff because for some reason they can't get those in Canada. The Keto Mojo is, I think Professor Seafried's team came up with it, but it's a blood test that you can do at home, and they're sold on Amazon, and they're highly accurate, and it'll tell you your ketones and your blood sugar. They're very, very good. I'd recommend checking that because my friend Jeff has been using that now for a week. And even if you're in full carnivore, I used to foolishly think, I'm doing carnivore. Like, what else am I going to change? Why would I test my ketones? But depending on how much fat you're consuming, depending on how much exercise you're doing, there's lots of different factors that can go into ketone production. It's funny. I'm actually going to, I have a Keto Mojo. I haven't used it this whole time on carnivore. I haven't used it once yet, but I'm going to start using it actually probably today after this call. So maybe check into something like that and see. And then, are you getting enough fat? I guess would be my next question. I know, like my wife in particular, she started carnivore. Now she's doing keto. She really struggled. She just has she has a fat aversion basically. You got to get a lot of fat on carnivore, get those ketones going as well. So I would make sure you're getting enough fat and take a closer look at that. But maybe try that. Maybe try that thing. I haven't heard of someone taking that long, 8 months. That's kind of crazy. It's usually a lot quicker for people. So other than that, that would really be a good question. Again, I'm not a doctor, so that would be a really good Dr. Barry question. He does a weekly live stream as well. So maybe try putting it up on there. I'd love to hear what he has to say about that. He'd probably answer it way better than I could, but I'd make sure you get enough fat and maybe try to get one of those Keto Mojos to take a closer look at what your ketones are actually doing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try another one.
What are the chances? This is from William Cochran. Yep, sorry.
Yeah.
William Cochran.
No, carry on.
What are the chances of the recent medical intervention experiment compromising people's health? Oh, I think I know what he's talking about. Could be a good chance. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. It's all speculation at this point. I try to only focus on things that I can control. So I think I've already controlled everything I can in regards to the recent medical intervention experiment compromising people's health. So yeah, I don't really have much to say on that otherwise.
Ditto. Okay, next one.
From Michelle, good morning all from UK. So many benefits from being carnivore since July 2023. My bright white hair went gray in my 30s, now 65. Is turning brown. Is this normal? That is awesome. That is so cool. Is it normal? Yeah. I think so. It's craziest thing with Maggie. Again, I spent a whole week with Maggie, and I still don't think she's 82. It's so hard wrapping my brain around it. She has full blonde hair. She doesn't have any gray hair at 82 years old. Blonde hair. People were asking, does she dye her hair? She started cracking up laughing. She's like, I don't dye my hair. I don't wear makeup. I don't wear deodorant. I don't do any of that stuff. I've also heard our friend Dave Mack. He's got a great YouTube channel. He actually had hair loss, and he had it on video because people were like, oh, you photoshopped this. He had a bald spot on video that filled in on carnivore, which is just crazy. So that's awesome, Michelle. Yeah. Good for you.
Okay, next one.
Oh, I think we got this one, but I want to read this one again because shout out 10 pounds, all beef, no beer, 6 days on carnivore. Thank you again for the $10. Every penny to the Carnivore Diet Doc. 6 days sober, which obviously goes hand in hand, but the lifestyle is the only thing that has made me stop abusing alcohol in over 10 years. Videos to follow, 2 of them. So everyone go check out All Beef, No Beer. If you got a YouTube channel, you do a super chat on here, I will gladly shout you out and we'll try to send some people your way. But good job on and staying sober. That's amazing. It's a good transition too, because again, I just mentioned our friend Dave Mack. He's been carnivore for geez, a long time. I don't remember the date, a really long time, but he also started carnivore and quit drinking on this exact same day. And he's been sober from alcohol and sugar for, I think it's over a year now, well over a year now, maybe even be longer than that. So good job. That's amazing. Everyone go check out All Beef, No Beer. Thank you for that super chat. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers. Graham, would you like to go through some of the starred ones?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Which one is those? The Sandra ones? The donations? Yes, I did cover Sandra's Johnson's donation. No, I didn't. Sorry. I didn't. Thank you, Sandra, for donating on the GoFund, $10. Michael Genes, something like that. I think that was $25. Thank you for your donation. Super chat. That's
yourself. Thank yourself. Thank you so much, Graham. That's so nice of you. Appreciate
nice
it.
Nice guy.
Right. Then Buck Disno. Super sticker. Thank you very much for your $10 donation. Digging it back. $20 donation, 1 month in on the Carnivore Life. And it's been incredible so far. That's amazing. And I think I didn't put myself on again. Super chat, $10. Not super chat, GoFundMe.
Thank you so much, Graham. Really appreciate you.
And yes, and if you go back to the chart, if you just want to check the chart out, how far are we there? It's been very slow. Let me just share the screen. But we're getting there. Slowly. $336. We're getting there. Super chat is at $156 and GoFundMe at $180. Okay, and I see another super chat coming in. So I'll be back.
Awesome. Thank you, Graham. Really appreciate it. Hey, shout out Graham too. Everyone check out Graham. Graham is amazing. All these carnivores are amazing. Graham has been helping with our carnivore committee. He's been running the whole thing, which is a group of volunteers that are helping with the Carnivore Diet documentary. And Graham has an awesome YouTube channel as well. So I think you were saying you're doing an interview with a carnivore coach from South Africa. Is that on your channel today, Graham?
That's maybe in just before, if you follow World Rugby, the World Cup Rugby, just before the World Cup Rugby, an hour before the World Cup Rugby, I will be getting a guy named Kobus Kriel. So he's a South African carnivore coaching, and he's a TikTok, what you call it? He's got a TikTok channel.
Nice. Everyone go. I've got a link to Graham's channel in my description. Please go support, check him out, watch. I'll be watching that later. Did you say you're also you went on Dr. Baker's channel too?
No, he said that he did a course at Dr. Baker.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that hence him being a carnivore coach today.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Carnivore coach over at Graham's channel. So go check that out. Yeah. So now we got 2 in South Africa, Graham. We gotta get a group up there so we can go do a meetup there. I would love to visit there someday.
Yeah.
That will be awesome, Kerry.
We'll have to turn it into the Carnivore World Tour. Just go everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Graham. Really appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes before our next guest comes on. Can you touch a bit more on the diet movie, please, Kerry?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I mentioned, Graham is helping with our carnivore committee of volunteers. Hey, Graham, just one quick question. We've got a big conference call coming up. I'm still getting up to speed after being in Canada. Do we need any more volunteers at this point, or are we pretty good?
Um, I w- I would say yes in certain areas. We don't have volunteers for the cancer. The reproductive health is very slow.
Right.
There's only one person, which is Mike. So we need in certain areas we need. And the other thing is that I also mentioned that I've sent out emails. I sent out final emails. So I don't know if the emails go to the spam. I'm not too sure. So if you did apply, please check your spam also as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone is interested, you can always email me to
Okay.
homesteadhow@gmail.com. But yeah, the carnivore committee we're talking about is a group of volunteers that are helping with each segment that's going to be in the documentary. And it's just amazing. These people are awesome. Graham's been managing it all. But like for example, the fertility, women's health one, we've got Primal Mike that's helping with that one, but we need a couple more volunteers. The 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 what the volunteers are doing is researching each of those to find, okay, who's the best expert. When we do the documentary and we talk about women's health, who's the best expert that I could interview for the documentary, for example? So in that case, it's probably Dr. Kiltz, but maybe there's 2 or 3 other ones. And then what are some studies as it pertains to fertility and women's health and carnivore diet? So these researchers, these volunteers are looking for the studies, they're looking for video clips, they're looking for news articles, blog posts, experts, YouTube videos, everything, and putting it all in there so that when we film that section, we're going to have all this information. It's just wonderful because, like, I initially I intended to do all of this myself, and I could, but in order for me to do it and do a really good job, it's going to take years and years to do all of that research. So these teams of people being led by Graham are doing that, and then when it comes time to film those sections, we can just go in there. So if anyone's interested in those, cancer, women's health, fertility, and then there's a couple other ones, shoot me an email, homesteadhow@gmail.com. We're going to be doing hopefully a regular conference call as well, and kind of like the members of the channel. That was one other thing that we didn't mention earlier too. If you do the GoFundMe or you buy the salt shakers or the shirts, every penny goes to the documentary. But also, if you become a member, every penny we get from memberships goes to the Carnivore Diet documentary. I don't take any of that money for myself. And those members get insider info. So I've been sharing behind the scenes photos and stuff that happened when we filmed Maggie. We do a once a week, every Thursday at 3:00 Central. We do a live stream that's members only. So if you decide you want to be a member, you get access, you get more perks. Well, in the same way, I'm going to try to do the same thing for all the volunteers. So like the volunteers that are helping with the carnivore committee are going to be the first ones, along with the members, to see the trailer, which has, like I said, it has some crazy footage of Bill and Maggie that no one else has seen, and you're not going to see. It's just going to be in the trailer or it's going to be in the movie. So yeah, those are some updates on the Carnivore Diet Movie. One other thing real quick is someone asked, Exposing Darkness, how do I become a member? So if you're on my YouTube channel watching, just below the video, there's a little join button. It's tricky because if you're on an iPhone or iPad or Samsung, sometimes it's a little bit different. You might have to Google it. But for a lot of people, it's just right under the video. It'll say join. You just press that join button. And there's a couple different membership levels, but like the lowest one is just a couple dollars a month. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. The amazing thing with this whole documentary, and I've said this from the beginning, is it's not my film, it's not my documentary, it's that of the carnivore community. We're fundraising, we're crowdfunding it. It's the entire crowd and people that are donating, but also ideas and feedback from the carnivore community as well have really gone into shaping this thing. Graham just mentioned Primal Mike, a good friend of the channel and the Carnivore Diet documentary. He's working on our fertility section of our carnivore committee. He's always in the comments, and he's going to be in Chicago, so I'm going to meet him. He's awesome. He had a really good idea early on. He's like, Kerry, in the documentary, we need to show the scale of carnivore. There's way more people doing this than we realize. Anyone watching the documentary is just going to think these are just a couple of weirdos. This is just a handful of people. That's not true. I can say that specifically from my own knowledge. I've been so fortunate and blessed with my YouTube channel, but it's just been going crazy over the last 6 months I've been doing carnivore. I was just looking, I've had over 5 million views on the carnivore videos alone, tens of thousands of comments, so many comments from people in their 60s, 70s, 80s thriving on carnivore, people from all walks of life, all ages, all over the world that are doing carnivore. I believe there's way more than we believe. Anyways, Mike's point was we got to show that in the documentary. So that was another thing we did. We had a bunch of people record, my name is Kerry and I'm a carnivore. And then at the end of the documentary, the whole screen is going to fill up with all of these individuals. I think at this point we have a couple dozen. It's just, my name's Kerry, I'm a carnivore. They're going to say their individual name and they're a carnivore. It's just going to fill the whole screen up just to kind of show the scale of carnivore. That's not just a couple of people, it's actually a lot of people. So yeah, those are some updates on the documentary. If you want to learn more, the other thing I didn't mention earlier, of course, you can donate and support it at carnivoredietmovie.com, but you can also, if you want to share your carnivore story and participate, you can register for free there. We're still taking people. We're filming. We started filming Bill. We're filming Maggie. We're filming Jeff next week. But if you have an interesting and inspiring story and you're doing carnivore diet, you can register. And sorry, I'm just getting my breakfast delivered to me here. Got some eggs. You can register, and yeah, if you have an interesting, inspiring story, we'll take a look at it. That's the other thing the Carnivore Committee is doing. They're going through all of those registrations to see which ones are interesting. My biggest encouragement to any of you, if you're going to register, is create a YouTube channel. Even if you're scared, like, oh, you could do a YouTube channel and just keep them all private for yourself to keep yourself accountable. But that's the best way for us to judge. Initially, we said just send us a 60-second video, but that doesn't really tell us that much. If you're doing a YouTube channel, we can see, oh, they started 3 months ago. Oh, they're still sticking to it. Oh, they're really inspiring and they're seeing some good results. They're good on camera. That could be a good candidate to show in the documentary. So, but you can register for that for free at carnivoredietmovie.com as well. So I think that's kind of the big update for that.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, should we bring in our next guest?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yes, it's the man himself, Mr. Lee Copus. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. How about everyone else?
Doing great.
Hi, Lee.
It's got that same feel as the live streams back.
Yeah, except you're on at a much better hour. I think last time you were one of the last guests, but sincerely, right. Lee was one of my favorite guests. We did this 24-hour live stream. I think he was on at, like, I don't even remember, 4 a.m, something like that.
Your time, anyway.
Yeah, it was after about 20 hours of interviewing other people, but Lee was a breath of fresh air and a really crazy story. So I'm looking forward to sharing it again. But anyways, I'm sorry, Alex, I interrupted you. You were going to do the intros and stuff.
Hey, Kerry, no, I'm going to apologize again to our viewers and to you guys. I think my connection is pretty ropey today. So I'll introduce Lee. Lee, another UK carnivore. Great to see you.
Yeah. Hey, mate.
Yeah, the classic question. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name's Lee. The name on my channel is Kent Carnivore because I live in Kent. So a lot of people call me Kent, but it's not a problem. I found the carnivore diet just before 15 months ago now. So I've been on the diet for over 15 months. I'd actually heard about it previously through Jordan Peterson, but I didn't really take it that seriously. I just thought, like, wow, okay, no, he's really unique. But I actually had already suffered with ulcerative colitis, and I had already been in a situation where I had ileostomy surgery. So I've been wearing a bag for almost 7 years now. And that basically caused depression, and I had to become depressed to find a diet, ironically, that would have you know, saved my colon really and saved my whole health down spiral. So it's a funny situation for me. At the time, obviously, I had no clue. When I was diagnosed in 2012, I got my diagnosis back from the doctor, ulcerative colitis. It was quite mild. I had no idea about food, like at least in terms of what's, you know, non-inflammatory, what's going to cause problems and things like that. The advice I got from my doctor was the complete opposite, you know, increased fiber. So I was eating what I thought was a healthy, balanced diet, you know, lots of colorful fruits and vegetables, all fibrous, brown rice instead of white rice, brown bread, seeded brown bread, all of this stuff, you know, because I just thought that that's healthy and that was advocated. And it was recommended actually by my doctor to actually seek out these foods. So I was having lots of lean meats and fish and stuff like that. But in 2014, it got noticeably worse. I'd now been prescribed, I can't remember the name, but it was a medication that I took orally, and that basically helped manage the disease, but it wasn't curing anything. I wasn't getting better. So 2017 came along, so I improved my diet, like listened to what the doctor said, and I'm on this medication, and yet my whole colon at that point was completely riddled with disease. So yeah, early 2017, lost my whole colon, nurtured back to health somewhat, became independent so that I could manage it, went home, and then that's when things mentally kind of hit me, you know, just got worse and worse, from sleep to the relationship that I had with food. I was single at the time, and so my outlook was pretty negative. I just thought like life's over for me, you know. And yeah, I mean, despite going back to work and pouring myself into work, I think a lot of people probably thought I was doing quite well. I probably put on a brave face and fooled many people. But yeah, I fluctuated up and down with depression, and in the end it got quite serious. I had some very dark, real thoughts that scared the hell out of me, to be honest with you. That's when I reached out for help. So went to the doctors again. They gave me a number to call these other people that specialized in treating people with anxiety and depression mainly. And then that's who basically I talked to next, this secondary unit. We'd had a quite extensive conversation about my situation. And then I was awaiting this second call from this secondary unit, and that call never came. So days, weeks went by, and 2 months went by when I actually discovered the anecdote from Michaela Peterson. And when I heard that blew my mind. I was pretty much sold at that point, because I felt like I was on my own again. I could have either got the ball rolling again with the doctors, but the way I saw it at that point, I was aware of the psych drugs and lots of, you know, these people that are prescribed all these drugs, that they actually end up getting worse, certainly over time when they increase the dosage, when they start to wear off. It's not sustainable. So at some point, you're going to have to try and figure out how to get off these drugs, which is crazy. A lot of the time, you're in a worse situation. And so, yeah, basically, I decided to just adopt this way of life and just hope for the best. So I took a full leap of faith, and turns out after 3 weeks, all my problems had just miraculously disappeared. Day one, acid reflux gone, which I was suffering from daily. Actually, it would be mostly in the evening, but it wasn't a major concern for me, because I was just so debilitated with the depression. So I wasn't trying to address anything else. You know, I was so desperate to treat my illness that I was like, well, you know, I wasn't even aware of these other problems. But acid reflux went, skin conditions improved. I had acne on my back, and it was disappeared, you know, after 3 weeks. Energy was up, sleep was up, mood was up, depression deceased. And so it was a 30-day challenge. And I've been on the carnivore diet now for over 15 months. So there's no going back for me. It just gets better and better, like you said earlier. And I would just advocate this to all human beings, regardless of their current situation.
Yeah. Well, you look so young anyway, but how old were you when the colitis issue started?
Oh, goodness. I was probably, so I lost my colon 28 years old. But I think I must have been around about 22 or something like that. No,
So
what was it? 4, 5, like 23. I can't even remember now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lost my colon when I was 28. And I've not long turned 36. So.
Wow. He looks 26.
Yeah. And pale.
Yeah, I think you've been on the same. Sorry, you sound as if you've been on, obviously medical wise quite serious, but you've been on the same revelation journey as us guys on Carnivore.
Yeah, I think, it's just when you feel like you know something about food, you think, well, I mean, my whole definition of food has changed now. I'm at half the things that I see in the store don't even qualify as food. They just don't fit the criteria. If it's something that you can just consume, but it's going to cause inflammation, that can't be food. If you think about everything in nature, they don't eat things that cause inflammation. They eat things that just completely nourish themselves, and they address satiety, then they go on with the rest of their day. They're not talking about like different optimal diets among the species. Oh, I do this and it works for me, and oh, whatever. It just doesn't work like that, And so, yeah, my whole definition of food has changed. I think really it needs to offer complete nourishment, not just partial. Like say, for example, if you're on a vegan diet, there's definitely issues there. Everybody knows about B12, but there's many other problems with, omega-3 fats. Zinc is always a problem. Iron is actually the most common deficiency worldwide. You certainly don't want to go on a diet that doesn't offer heme iron. You only get non-heme, and you have to make these conversions. So yeah, it was just a big like wake up call, like a reality check. I had no idea. If I did, I probably wouldn't be in this situation. But yeah, it turns out red meat, the thing that's been villainized, and salt and saturated fats and cholesterol are the least inflammatory foods and the most nutrient dense. So you can pretty much live off of a ribeye steak every day if you wanted to.
Yes, I try and do that every day, but I think the main thing is carb. Yeah. Kerry, have you got any questions for Lee?
Yeah, for sure.
Too expensive sometimes.
Right.
Lee, one of the main reason I'm doing this carnivore diet documentary is because I too had horrible depression, and I was at a point where I was hopeless. And I know people are hopeless for many reasons, like Bill in Alaska just can't leave his house. He's also suffered from depression as well. For people that haven't had depression, sometimes it's hard to understand. I always caution people, you got to be careful if you have a loved one or family member that has depression. It's usually not because they're having a bad day or something's wrong with their life.
No, they're two different things.
Yeah. Are you able to maybe describe your depression a little bit more? And do you have anything to say to those who are experiencing what you went through, that are going through it right now?
Yeah, it's very, very tricky, because I've thought about this multiple times, even in terms of making content to try and help people, address the people that are suffering in that realm. But it's very tricky. I mean, they are, like I was saying, it's two different things. It's almost like when you're on the carnivore diet, there's hunger and then there's cravings, and they're not the same. And so until you know what real hunger's like, you don't know. You think like you're hungry 3 or 4, maybe even 5 or 6 times a day, and that's just a craving. And so having a bad day is like that. Having a bad day is different from having depression, where honestly, it's a funny situation, because when you're depressed, it's a very selfish state. You can only really consider yourself. You're not very practical. You're not very useful. To get up and go to work is like, wow, I achieved a lot today just because I managed to tick off the bare minimum. Whereas, a bad day, you might have a bad spell, a couple of things go wrong, and you feel like, oh, that sucks, But it's different when you feel like getting out of bed is like very, very difficult, addressing just simple tasks. Honestly, I mean, even eating, you wouldn't care if you ate, you wouldn't even care if you washed. And so again, very selfish, but you feel trapped. You feel very much internal, like in your own head. You're very neurotic. The thoughts are overwhelming, racy thoughts permanently. It seems like you don't really get a break from yourself. It's like wherever you go, there you are, right? You can't run away from it. It's up here. And so, yeah, it's very tricky to understand, because if I was to give advice to people, I pictured myself taking my own advice, like hearing this myself, and I'm not sure it would help. Because, for example, just say like the answer was, we'll put some trainers on and go for a 5-mile jog or something, or a walk, right? If that was the answer, even that's hard to do. It's hard to kind of pick yourself up off the couch when you feel a certain way, put your trainers on and go for a run or whatever. But it's not even as simple as that. It's far more complicated than that. But the truth is that the anecdote is very, very simple. The anecdote, like the antidote, sorry, the cure essentially is very simple, and that is to potentially adopt a little bit more suffering in the beginning, but hopefully to turn around your whole life for the better. And who knew food had such a big role to play? But I think the people that suffer with mental health, they have a brain energy problem. They are not in ketosis, right? They're not fueling their brain with these ketones, which the brain loves, the heart loves, the body loves. And so it's kind of like, it's like a disconnection. And I think that obviously when you're depressed, you don't know that that's going on. You just feel how you feel, and you can't make sense of it. Sometimes you're like, why? Look, I'm looking at everyone else and they seem to be able to get on with their life, at least externally. That's what it looks like. Why is it so hard for me to just open a letter and address this problem and pick up my mess and wash my face and put my clothes on and do a full day's work? Like, why is that so hard? So it's difficult. It's not easy just to say, well, look, reach out and tell people you feel mentally unwell. That doesn't work. You know, people ask how you are. They don't actually want to know to that degree, and they don't have the answer. So I know that that's a bit of a cliche, you know, just let people know, tell your friend. When they ask how you are, you know, just tell your friend, be honest, open up. It can help, you know. Problem shared is a problem halved, but that's not the antidote. That doesn't cure anything, because okay, I've expressed myself, but I still have to go home. I still have to sleep in the same bed and wake up the next day and try and address my life in some way. So maybe this doesn't work for everyone. I don't know, but it seems that anyone that's depressed and suffers from anxiety, agoraphobia, and all this kind of stuff, like, they adopt a very sensible ketogenic diet, or they go on a carnivore diet, and it could be weeks, it could be months, but their mental capacity improves dramatically. I haven't heard of anyone that's adopted the diet that says, do you know what, it hasn't gotten better at all, or it's gotten worse. Like, that's unheard of. You know, it does seem to at least vastly improve. And so my advice would genuinely be to take a leap of faith, make a sacrifice or two. You know, sacrifices are very useful. Only, you know, our ability as humans to make sacrifices, mostly because we make mistakes. Unlike nature, we make these unique mistakes, and so therefore we have to make the appropriate sacrifices, and we're actually rewarded greatly for that. I thought I was giving up all this stuff that I loved so much, and that I was saying goodbye to, you know, lovely, tasty food and going out to restaurants and drinking alcohol. Honestly, I was drinking alcohol in the end every day. I would be drinking 2 to 4 beers, no problem, every single day. That sucked. And I actually, funnily enough, I would even look forward to having my beers. I would look forward to escaping and then having like a takeaway or something like that. And then I'd be paying for it and regretting what I ate. Yeah, I actually look forward to it. It's really strange. It's such a strange situation. But now I've come out clean on the other side, and I'm like, wow, that life, you were stuck, you were trapped, you were not necessarily delusional, you just had no idea. You know, ignorance was bliss, but not when you're depressed. And so, yeah, my advice would be to transition slowly into a carnivore diet, really, and just give it some time. I was lucky that 3 weeks went by and they're lifted. I don't know whether it's because I don't have a gut, and obviously there's a gut-brain axis relationship going on there. Maybe the absence of a gut actually was in my favor. I'm yet to really understand that fully, but I mean, 3 weeks, that's a pretty quick turnaround to go from what my baseline was, you know, an absolute hell on earth, misery, and desperation, to I can smile every day and talk and communicate and articulate myself, and I don't have any fear. I don't hate anything. I don't, you know, I've let go of a lot of things. And yeah, like I say, life is always as much about letting go as it is holding on. And life's awesome. Life's great now. Even when I have a bad day, those bad days are pretty damn good compared to being depressed. So
that's something. My next video I'm doing, I was thinking the same thing, and it sounds like you're on the same lines as me. Is life is just so much better when you're fueling your body with the proper fuel. I see so many people just struggling. I feel for them, because I was like, man, I remember what that was like. Just the brain fog and the constant anxiety and living in fear every single day. Man, life is so much better without any of that unnecessary fear or anxiety or anything.
Yeah, totally inappropriate.
Yeah. One other question I had, Lee, was I have a lot of people that tell me, yeah, that's great, Kerry, you overcame your depression and anxiety. You would have done the same thing if you just got rid of that sugar and ate a bunch of plants. What do you think is causing the depression to go away for you in your case?
So there's obviously thresholds and spectrums to most things, I would say. I imagine if you did cut out sugar, like the obvious sugar, right? You know, carbohydrates are made of glucose. So when we say sugar, it's like, well, what do you mean table sugar, or do you mean a banana, or do you mean some starchy potato or porridge oats? That's all sugar. So there are cleaner foods to eat, right? We could wake up in the morning and pour whole fat milk on top of grains, and then have a wholemeal sandwich, and it's super clean and it's well balanced. But that's not going to work, because you're not going to be in ketosis. You're not fueling your brain with enough of the right fuel and not enough of the wrong fuel, so that you get into this different metabolism. If you're not eating enough fats and you're eating too much plant matter, you just won't reap the benefits. You have to get into ketosis. To me, that's the most crucial aspect of treating mental conditions with the diet. Because even if you ate clean, if you're above a threshold and you're still on this like glucose metabolism, you're not going to feel any better, I don't think. You probably would rid certain things, right? Maybe your skin improves, maybe your sleep gets better, maybe you do feel, 20-30% better, but you're not. I don't think you're going to rid your depression. I don't think that that's possible. I've tried all sorts. When I was suffering with my skin, I was eating what they call like a Mediterranean diet. And I get this in the comments all the time about, oh, Mediterranean diet would do the same thing, and Mediterranean diet's the most healthy, and blue zone types, even though that's obviously a fallacy. It just didn't work. My skin was terrible. My acne and my back was getting worse. I had all sorts of problems. I don't think it's about like whittling down certain things, like just take out this, take out that, and hope for the best. Like if you're still consuming seed oils and starchy carbohydrates, or even what we'd say is like, non-starchy carbs and the healthy vegetables and like broccoli and super low carb, you have to be in ketosis. You can eat all these wonderful fruits and vegetables that are supposed to be so healthy for us, but if you're not in ketosis, you will not get the benefit. So you just have to, obviously processed foods, get that out, seed oils, get that out. But next on the list, in my opinion, would be grains. I think grains are one of the biggest mistakes, especially because, and I'm guilty of this, I would base every single meal around grains. So in the morning, it's almost like I couldn't figure out how to put a meal together if there wasn't grains present. So in the morning, it's cereal, right? Weetabix, Kellogg's, or porridge oats, or rolled oats and this kind of stuff. And then you add fruit and veg. Then for lunch, you might have a sandwich. For dinner, it's always pasta and rice, or a wrap. There's always grains. And that I think is a real issue, because there's so many problems with grains. Not only is it sugary, it's going to take you out of ketosis, the amount of times that you're eating these things, but the phytoestrogens and the endocrine disruptors, gluten, which everyone has a problem with. Whether you know it or not, gluten, your stomach acid can't deal with gluten like we do with animal proteins. And if it's whole grain, it's got fiber, and fiber for me was the enemy. Fiber for a lot of people is the enemy. It's tricky. To be honest with you, I don't want to find out exactly what would be the culprit. I think I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing. It seems to work for me. It seems to work for anyone really that adopts it and sticks with it.
Right. Yeah, isn't that something? It's just like everyone I talk to that does it, other diets, people fall and they fail, but it just seems like remarkable turnarounds with carnivore. So you said you're gonna stick to it. You've been doing it for a while. Have you had any moments where you're like, whoa, I don't know if I can, like, forever, I'm gonna do this forever? Have you had any moments where you're like, I don't know if I can do this forever? Second thoughts?
Not really. The only thing that I have been thinking about is, I was talking to my partner the other day, Lucy. I was just saying, it's funny, when I went carnivore, I didn't look at it like, and I think everyone shouldn't look at it like this, because it's only going to make it worse. I didn't look at it like, right, this is the last time I'm ever going to have chocolate. This is the last time I'm ever going to have a beer. I didn't look at it like that. I just thought, I'm going to switch this stuff out for this stuff, see how I feel. And I had a 30-day challenge in mind. Well, I basically ticked every single box on a list. I literally wrote down things on a piece of paper, everything that I could think of that was negative in my life. And I ended up ticking every single one of those in 3 weeks off the list. And so at that point, I was like, well, that's interesting. I feel pretty good, and I quite enjoy what I'm eating. There was a period, maybe, 2 months, 3 months. And I've even said to people, it took me up to 4 months to completely rid all cravings. So I would get like a flavor come to mind. Someone's cooking something, someone's eating something. Oh, that smells nice. But I also just made up my mind. I'm going to be stubborn about this. Like, it smells nice. I kind of wouldn't mind eating that, but I'm going to say no every time. I'm just going to say no. And I actually started to, I don't know, it was rewarding to say no to all these foods that I love so much. Like, it was quite liberating to go. I actually enjoyed more saying no to the foods than eating them after a while. And yeah, that's a funny take, but yeah, I was saying to my partner the other day, it's funny. At the time, I never thought I would never eat chocolate ice cream again, or I would never eat an apple pie. But I don't think I'm ever in my life going to ever eat any of those foods ever again. I'm happily, in that situation. I'm happy to say, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. No takeaways, no restaurants, birthday cake. I don't understand. I get that people go to a birthday and they go, oh, I slipped up. I hear it all the time. I slipped up. I had a bit of birthday cake. I slipped up. I had a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm very, very confident that I'm not going to be deviating even 1%. Not on purpose anyway, unless somebody spikes my meat with something. Yeah.
Right. It's funny. One of my daughters was eating, the non-carnivore daughters was crunching on some broccoli, some raw uncooked broccoli. And it was making a loud crunching sound. And then I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to eat anything crunchy again. It just, this realization happened. I'm like, well, bacon's a little crunchy sometimes if you overcook it though. But yeah, it was kind of a weird thing. Lee, I really enjoyed talking to you, and we had you on the channel, but I got to be honest with you. You messed me up a little bit. This is what happened. Carnivore, right? Like I'm very enthusiastic. I'm doing YouTube videos about it, but I've always realized too, like, I'm never going to change anyone. They have to decide to do it themselves.
Yeah.
But then after talking to you, and you basically said, like, listen, I lost my colon. And if you were doing carnivore prior to that or eating the proper human diet, you don't think you would have lost it. So unfortunately for you, it was too late. And that really stuck in my head. And then after talking to you, I became good friends with Jeff DeProsperous, who has stage 4 cancer, who says my eating chronic inflammation for years and years from eating food and putting different stresses on my body caused the cancer. Now it's too late. I've got stage 4 cancer. So I don't know what to make of that, but I was always so much more kind of like laid back. But now I'm like, man, in my head, it was always like, you got to hit rock bottom. That's what it's going to take for a lot of people before they're going to want to change their lives forever. When you see friends and family that are clearly suffering, you're like, this is just so foolish. I had all this family over at my house the other day, by the way, and it was crazy. Like, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but every single one of them, oh, my elbow hurts, my lower back, oh, my stomach is just gurgling and bubbling as they're just shoveling in more garbage food. I'm like, you're filling your face with highly inflammatory food, and then you're like so shocked that your body's highly inflamed. I'm like, this is just common sense stuff. I'm turning into a little cynical kind of jerk about some of this stuff, but it's like, it's so crazy in the world. Like, everyone's just doing it. They're suffering and they're just clueless about it. But anyhow, that was my take on it before. It was like, I'm just going to put my example out there. I can't change anyone until they hit rock bottom. But now I'm telling a lot of people, like, you could end up like my friend Lee or like my friend Jeff, and it could be too late for you if you're going to wait too long. That chronic inflammation for years and years and years leads to a lot of cancers out there that are irreversible. So it's it's a crazy thing.
Yeah, some of the damage is irreversible, like you say. I think some people genuinely wait until they get to that point where they go, right, you can't afford to have this anymore. Like, smoking cigarettes, a lot of people, I don't know where the mentality is there, what the end game is. Nothing against someone who smokes, certainly people that are just addicted to it, like they're being controlled by this substance, this product. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them, maybe it's that mentality, like, oh, it's not going to happen to me. I think we all have, at least we can all like relate to that with something, that won't happen to me. I thought the same. I never thought I'd be walking around with a bag attached to my stomach. And I'm, in a way, I'm a slave to that. I'm a slave to that bag. I can't just go for a walk, go for a run, lay down on my stomach in bed whenever I want. That can't happen. I have to run it by the bag, essentially, If only I knew, I would have done what it took. I just didn't have the information available. It wasn't available. So, and through the medical system as well. That's how it's such a broken system. If you go to the port of call when you're desperate and you're inflamed and you're in trouble, and they fail to give you the information, the guidance, to put you on the right path. That's a tragic situation, and unfortunately, that's just the way the medical situation is. It's set up that way. I'm not saying that they're all in it for the wrong reasons. You know, a lot of these people are lovely people, kind hearts. You know, they got into it to help people, but they don't know what naturopaths know. You know, and that it's not set up so that when you're sick, you go and see a naturopath. You go and see a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Naturopaths are people that are going to understand what's going on more. They can actually heal you rather than manage your disease with poisonous drugs. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah. I'm hoping the system will change. What do you feel like, Lee, like 20, 30 years from now? Do you see a world full of carnivores, or do you see it not changing much?
I've thought about that. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think so. I mean, I know a lot of people, I get this a lot as well. Oh, if everyone went carnivore, it would be the end of the world. It's never going to happen. You're never going to get everyone to go carnivore. So I would just throw it out the window. Don't worry about that. We want to get as many people as we can to eat more meat and decrease the seed oils and the grains and the highly processed foods. That doesn't mean, and let's face it, you know, a lot of people that watch these videos, they are moderating things like sourdough bread, or moderating things like their coffees, their teas, and they have an apple and some broccoli or some mushrooms with their steak. So it's not like everyone's just going to overnight jump into a carnivore diet and the world's going to end. That's, you know, but I would like to think, yeah, and as we move forward, that people discover this way of life and find relief, because humans deserve to feel like actual humans. You know, we shouldn't be walking around inflamed, slave to the system, and when we're in trouble, they fail us. And then the only cures are to take body parts out. And then you're going to end up depressed. And then you're actually taxing the system with the healthcare, and you're taxing the system with, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I would love to think so, that more and more people will adopt this diet by chance. Maybe they stumble across something like I did. Maybe more and more people, like there are doctors out there that now are not prescribing. They're learning not to, and address, right, okay, let's have a look. Is there something else I can do before just giving you this drug? And that is happening. I mean, I don't actually see it personally around here. Like I think Paul was saying, it's not very well known. You know, the doctors don't really know. It's just, and there's not many carnivores around here. And actually what he was saying, Paul was saying, you know, the butchers themselves don't know of many carnivores. I go to the same 4 places, and all of them think I'm crazy for doing what I'm doing. You know, somewhat. I know that they think it's strange. They think that I'm a special kind of guy, like, you know, the guy, you know, that comes in and eats only meat. Like, that's weird. And they literally work in the butcher shop. They don't know how. They were like, oh, what, liver's supposed to be healthy? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't say eat it every day or even every week, but yeah, liver's healthy. That stuff that you sell every day, that's food. You know,
that's the real stuff.
Right, that's the real stuff. All that fat on the beef that they cut off, that's food. What you're just throwing away there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad. Okay, Kerry, can we catch up on some questions or any interesting what's it called, super stickers?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's take a look quick. Yeah, I think you gotta drive it though, Alex. I can't click on those.
Okay, hold on a second. I keep forgetting about that. Hold on.
Bacon of
While I'm
health.
doing this, I want to say to yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Yep. All right, Bacon of Health. I fear the documentary will be bought with exclusive rights and then shut down. Make sure you keep all the rights, or all the work might be for nothing. Yeah, really good point. Yeah, Adam and I were talking about that the other day for sure. I actually just did there's a cancer documentary. The website is called cancerevolution.film. I really enjoyed watching. I did a little video about it before. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It was just a fantastic documentary. And I had the privilege of talking to the man that created it with his wife, and he's given me some good tips and advice specifically in this regard too. So thank you for that comment in the super chat. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Right, I think we're through there. Lee, I want to say your story's so inspirational, mate. Good on you.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, I mean, I may as well get it out there. You know, I think another thing as well is that going carnivore, I feel so much better. I don't really care, and in a positive way. You know, I don't care so much about me. You know, I'm just grateful the way I feel, and I want to try and like help other people that are in a similar situation. So IBD and depression was certainly the criteria that I tried to go down and help those people on my channel. But it's turned into more than that. I've learned so much more, and I just it's passion. It's a passion of mine. You know, just to even put videos together, and whoever sees it, I'm sure that there's a percentage of people that's going to help, and so it just gives me a bit of meaning and purpose as well.
Well, I've been pestering Kerry about when he's coming over to the UK, and I keep hinting that we've got to get together down south with Laura and yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's something that is definitely going to come about.
Nice. Do you see many carnivores? Like, do you get to share a steak with people, or is it quite difficult? You don't know anyone?
Solo. Yeah, solo. I've just come back from a 4-day trip in Berlin, and it was very difficult to get a proper carnivore meal.
Right.
Went to a place called the Meat Place, and they still wanted to put sauce on everything, and tomatoes, broccoli, and I was like, no, I just want a ribeye. Leave me alone.
Salt to taste, yeah.
I got through it. Paul was talking about was it temptations? It wasn't a temptation for me, but one day it was like 5 degrees all day, and we had big burgers, cheese. I took everything off the actual burger, but there was some French fries there.
Right.
Because my excuse was, I'm cold, I'm hungry, French fries. 2 hours later, diarrhea. So, it's the best thing about it is it just keeps, because I haven't had seed oils for 17 months. My body went into, what the hell are you doing? And I paid the price. But I mean, as you said about alcohol and stuff like that, do you want to pay that price, or do you want to avoid it completely? So I learned a lesson. It spoiled that night because everyone else went out, and I stayed in the hotel room for 24 hours, drank loads of water, didn't have any red and salt. But I realized then that I'm not going to do that again. There's no excuse. No excuse. But
I accidentally slipped up on my skiing trip, so I knew it was a bit of a gamble going away. I was invited. I was like, okay, let's do it. Managed to stay clean through the whole week, but there was one time, and immediately I put it in my mouth. I could even tell. I looked at it, and you can see it. You become so sensitive. Like anything that isn't carnivore, you just know instantly. And I paid for it as well. I could feel it at the top of my stomach, like almost like in the middle of my chest. This strange, unsettled feeling, and actually, it was familiar, but just not for so long, and it was more intense because it had been so long as well. But I mean, it was like you say, it's a reminder. It's like, right, check yourself, So I'm not really too keen even to go away, and I haven't eaten in this country. I have not eaten out once. No takeaways, no restaurants, no nothing. Like you say, I'm pretty much solo. My partner went carnivore with me for the first 30 days, but now she's like a very loose ketogenic diet. But she's managed to maintain the keep in check all the problems that she solved that she didn't even really know was there. So she's managed to keep the weight off. Her blood's healthy. And she's managed to keep that up even while introducing certain things. But some people get away with it, I suppose, to a point. I mean, maybe there is a moment in time where she'll have to come back again,
Yeah. But it's great to have the support, though, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I didn't expect her to jump in with me as well. We did the BBBE challenge for 30 days together. And she kind of struggled because she wasn't used to eating just those foods. Like she just didn't eat any saturated fats whatsoever. And it was always carbohydrates multiple times a day with sweet coffees. And so that was hard for her to give up these nice sweet coffees and that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we've got a couple of minutes left. I was going to say, hang on, Lee, if you don't mind, till the end.
Sure.
I know my my connection's not that good, so I'd like Kerry, if he doesn't mind, to finish off maybe a bit more information on the diet movie and progress.
Yeah. Let's see. What else can I share? I think the progress is going amazing. It's really interesting. I was just watching this kind of famous YouTuber guy that did a fundraiser and raised some money for a feature that he filmed. And we've hit over 1,000 donations on the GoFundMe, which is just incredible. So it's going to be really expensive to film all the doctors. So we're really thankful for all of that. But I'm really happy with where we're at now. We're starting going through all the footage and editing things. And yeah, I got to get out there, do a meetup by you guys. I'm gonna have to start looking and plan that in there. Like I said, we got a lot going on in the next 2 weeks or so, and then it was either filming in the US or maybe traveling and heading overseas. So we'll have to figure that out. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. Hey, Lee, one more follow-up question.
Yeah, I've got one more. Sorry, Kerry.
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry, mate.
I was good. No worries.
Yeah, I've got one more question. I'm going to just put it on the screen.
What vitamins or minerals should you take on a purely carnivore diet? What about you, Lee? You taking anything? Any supplements?
Zero. So I would actually recommend that people buy a very pure, clean electrolyte, like powder or pill. You know, I'm trying to think of the brand that's quite clean. Element, like non-flavored, right? You know, you may want to just incorporate that in your water while you adapt.
Yeah.
Funny thing is with me is because I don't have a colon, I actually have more issues with electrolytes, and I have experienced a few cramps, but not for a long time now. All I do is add high quality salt to taste to all of my food, and I vary. So I suppose I have dabbled with the Lion diet. I did a 30-day Lion diet challenge. I think I would do a hell of a lot better on that now because I'm just more adapted and I can take on more fat. But yeah, you don't need any vitamins. Like if you're having steak and eggs, maybe a piece of liver once every week or so. If you have a little bit of fish as well in your diet, you do not have to worry about any of that, not whatsoever. You know, like you're going to get more magnesium and zinc and things like that in the fish. You're going to get more like B12 and B6 and different things in the liver, vitamin C, right? You know, and different things from the eggs. You get very high quality saturated fats in the eggs and the meat. But if you're having a varied, that's why the Lion diet's great. But I think that for some people, if you quite like fatty fish, wild mackerel, we can get around here, pastured eggs, ribeye steaks, a little bit of liver here and there, you do not need to worry about any supplementation whatsoever. None.
Nice. Was there any other question? Oh, Graham.
Okay, great.
Okay, let me just go. There's a question here that somebody said,
Yes.
the carnivore mommy said earlier on that, did Kerry see don't forget my question for Kerry. So there you go, Kerry.
Oh, Carnivore Mommy. Thank you so much. $5. Kerry sent an email heading home Monday and would love to stop by and meet you. We'll have 4 of my carnivore kids with. Yeah, I think that was today. I got to check my email. I think that was today at the movie theater. I will be there later and I would love to meet for sure. I think I responded to your email. I wasn't sure if that was today or not, but yeah, come on in. I love meeting carnivores. That's been one amazing thing is every week more and more people are coming in like, I'm a carnivore. I'm like, why are you whispering? Let's go here. So it seems like it's definitely spreading. So yeah, looking forward to meeting you. Yeah.
We had some new members as well. Let me just go up. Alan Stevenson, member for a month.
Oh,
Christian.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate that. I had my gallbladder removed and ileostomy that was reversed in April this year. Been on carnivore for 2 months and started Lion diet 4 days ago. My question is, should I reduce the fat as it's going straight through me?
Yeah, at first, if it's going straight through, you pull back on it for a little bit, add more salt. If you're drinking coffee, that can also increase output. Sometimes, yeah, I think look, the reason why that's happening is because you don't have a gallbladder. You're having to make another adaptation. So obviously the gallbladder stores bile. The moment the animal fat hits your small intestine, that would signal to release the bile from the gallbladder. But you don't have that anymore. And so what happens is you're going to start to develop a secondary pouch, if you like, that's going to end up storing more like bile, like your gallbladder would, but that just takes a bit of time. So I would advise just to pull back while that adjusts and just slowly increase, perhaps, pull back for 2 weeks, slowly increase the next week and adjust it accordingly. Your body will get there, but yeah, just carry on doing what you're doing, but perhaps add more salt, pull back on fat, maybe drop coffee if you're drinking a lot of coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then Then just a shout out for 2 new members, Diane Larasha, new
Thank you.
member, and who is Ketogenic Christine, new member.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had my gallbladder removed too. I get that question all the time. I do just
Right.
fine. Like Lee said, you got to start out. Dr. Chafee said once in a video, he's like, if things are going right through you and you're going to the bathroom a lot, you're probably getting too much fat.
Mhm.
And if you're not going enough, you're probably not getting enough fat. He's like, going to the bathroom and number twos is a really good indication of your fat intake. It's a good way to
It really
regulate
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
going to say something, and then I thought actually I might not say it. Seems a bit inappropriate.
Right. Hey, huge shout out to Lee, Kent Carnivore. I love your YouTube videos. You're killing it. I could see the passion there. So good at editing it. I've got a link in the description to Lee's channel. You've done some really good ones. I think I even emailed you. I was like, do you do any editing on the side? We need some help with the documentary stuff.
Mhm.
Killing it.
I wish I had a bigger computer and like larger hard drive and stuff. I wouldn't be able to handle those files. You know.
Yeah.
Some of my projects jams me up a little bit as it is. I'm like, wow, I bet put
You're
some
not
720 in there rather than 1080.
Right. It's been a challenge. Like when we were filming Maggie and Bill, because I have this is my little external hard drive. We filled it up, and I'm like, if I'm on the plane coming back from Alaska with Bill and someone rips this out of my rips the backpack, it's all the footage is gone. So I tried to back it up online, but the files are too big. It took me, I think, 5 days after coming back just to back up the footage online with a really fast internet connection and Ethernet cable. It's a tricky part of the process.
That's the only thing that stresses me out these days, actually. You know, that kind of thing when you put so much work in, you're like, oh, this is, it's slowing down. I need to make space for something. It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to delete this old stuff. Is it okay to delete it? Just to, like when I was filming Bill, I'm like, I had it all on here, but then I also backed it. I wanted to have some redundancy, so I had it on the memory card and then backed it up there too. But I was just thinking of poor Bill. Like if someone rips this off my back, like all of the hours and hours he sat there doing interviews with me is going to be lost. And luckily that didn't happen. But yeah, so everyone check out Lee Copa's Kent Carnivore. Hey Lee, I had one other question. What's it gonna be? Do you feel like, I don't know if this is like, I think testosterone levels and stuff increase on carnivore. I don't know. I'm getting a little snippier, sometimes jerky with people. But I don't know if it's that or this thing. Like, I feel like when I look at Dr. Chafee, for example, and talk to him, I really feel like that guy's like operating on a completely different level. He's been doing carnivore for a long time, physically and mentally. Yeah, Greek God level. But physically and mentally though too, like some of the stuff, like you'll ask him a question and he'll talk for a half an hour citing these studies and papers. I'm like, he's operating on a subconscious level or something. Do you feel like you're operating on a different level on carnivore or using a different part of your brain?
100%. I mean, the fact that my depression lifted seems to have made way for just better functionality of my brain. I can understand things better. I can absorb and retain information better. I've learned so much. I've probably learned more in this last 15 months than my entire existence. I've never been that academic. I've failed a lot of classes, and I had a pretty, not terrible attitude, but it was pretty bad attitude, really. I was very musical. I've always used that as an excuse. But it seems that after going on this diet and becoming adapted, my brain functions so much better. I have more patience. I have more tolerance. And I can just understand things. Like I've said this multiple times, but I used to I play the piano by ear, and we've talked behind the scenes a little bit about that. But I can actually understand what the hell is going on, what I'm actually doing for the first time, theoretically, when I just thought like, oh, that's not my thing. I can't read music. I don't understand the theory. I can play by ear. Well, now I play the same things, but it's like, they're not just shapes anymore. I can understand that's a C minor diminished. That's I've added the 7 in there. Or that's why that sounds like that. Just little things. It helps me to play better as well, because I'm not relying on, I don't know, muscle memory. Like when you play by ear, you rely a lot on shapes and muscle memory and the sound and the color, not like mathematically understanding why that is, And so, my brain just works better. And even when you when you fast as well. I haven't eaten anything today, and so just feels so clear. If I was going to do a test, I'd want to do it fasted. And I think that at the end of the day, when you're on a carnivore diet, you're always fasted from carbohydrates and plants. And so I think that's a benefit. Yeah, new level.
It's crazy. Like, it seems like the evolution of humans, like the next, if we can, I hope that that's the future, is like everyone's carnivore. It's like, we figured this out earlier. You guys should jump on board, because this is where it's got to go to. But I've seen the same thing too. One of the craziest things when I did carnivore was I don't do much outside, but since I was like 10 years old, I'd go golfing with my dad all the time, and he always killed me. And after I was on carnivore for a couple of months, I went with him one time and I beat him for the first time. And I know I attribute everything to carnivore, but golf is a big mind game. It was just like you were saying, Lee.
It's just the processed foods.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I was swinging the club and stuff I'd screw up on before, I could see it more clearly. Like, oh, yeah, duh. I was like tilting this, my wrist was in a little bit, and things I could never figure out before. I would just hit it and I'd get frustrated and I'd move on to the next one. I don't know. Some of that's me attributing everything to carnivore, but it definitely seems
it feels like to me, like I've always had this lens over my eyes, and so the real pure lens wasn't being able to function. It's like that's lifted. I see the world differently now. Like everything that I see, I feel like I see the world for what it is. It's more red pill like mentality now, where I was very, without knowing it, which is the whole idea, I guess, blue pilled. It's just pure inertia. You just have no idea. You're accustomed to this ignorance, and sometimes it's bliss, but a lot of the time it really wasn't. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. Really good stuff. Alex, sorry, I know there's a little delay. Do you have any other questions?
Well, I was going to say we've got a few more questions and comments.
Sure.
Should we go through these quickly?
Yeah.
This one.
How do I become a member? There's a little join button underneath the videos. You just click on that. Thank you.
Okay, next one.
Oh, I think we got that one. Diana, thank you. Became a YouTube member.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, here's another question.
Grey Wolf Graphics. I bought lard at the grocery store in the Hispanic section, but noticed it's hydrogenized. Is it safe to use?
I honestly couldn't inform you on that specifically. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's obviously more processed, so I would say that that's going to be less healthy. It could cause more inflammation for some reason. I don't know.
That was my answer too. I agree. Okay, next one.
Here for thinking.
Hey, $10 super chat. Thank you, Robert. Hi, everyone. Friendly reminder, get everyone to not forget to support the channel by giving it a thumbs up and to spread the word by sharing as much as possible. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate that.
Okay. Question from Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer, Texas Carnivore. Kerry, when did the live session begin and how long will it last today? It began at 6 a.m. Central Time for me about 3 hours ago, 3 hours, 15 minutes. How long will it last? I'm not sure. I'm here until until Alex tells me we're good. A couple hours, I think.
Until hunger strikes.
Right.
Yeah, it's going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I couldn't manage. I've obviously got to actually make an account because I couldn't stream it to my channel. I'm still yet to get around to doing that. It's so crazy. Like I intend to get some people on my channel returning the favors, and also there's some people I would love to get on my channel. But I clearly need to actually have an app and set up an account, and so I can actually do that. I couldn't stream to my channel. So.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, if you need a hand, just let me know anytime.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Look forward to the next one.
Another member, Ketogenic Christine. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Jan Smith, Kerry, do you notice major health changes or brain sharpness from your 5-day fast? Yes. Yeah. So for those that don't know, I did it. I mentioned earlier, my friend Jeff DeProsperous has stage 4 cancer, and he just hit the 30-second cycle where he'll do a 5-day water fast. Then he gets chemo in between, and then he's full carnivore after. So for one of his 5-day sessions, I said, I'm going to do this with you. because you've done it 32 times. You're a friend of mine, and because I think fasting, just like carnivore, is something that humans have done for a long time. We would probably find a big animal, feast on it, and then maybe fast for 5 days until we found another one. I felt amazing doing the fast. I did a 5-day fast like 2 or 3 years ago, and that was from like a really dirty keto standard American diet to fasting. And the first couple days were miserable. This time going from strict carnivore to fasting was a breeze. Like I didn't have any issues whatsoever. And the only other thing I'll say real quick, when I did that fast going from the standard American diet a couple of years ago, by day 5 of that one, I felt incredible. And it's the closest feeling I've ever had to what I would describe as carnivore. The brain sharpness, some of the anxiety was going down, and I was feeling really good. And I was like, man, I wish I could feel like this forever. But of course, back then I'm like, I got to eat something. Now on carnivore, I pretty much feel like that all the time. But when I did do this 5-day one, I felt even better. I don't know how it's possible. I felt even better than I do on carnivore. 2 things were a little bit different. Was my mood was just way better. Like I creeped my wife out one morning. She woke up looking at me. I just had this big like Joker smile. I woke up with a smile on my face, which I'm pretty darn happy on carnivore. But my mood was just crazy happy, and I guess the brain sharpness too. It seems like Lee mentioned when he's fasted right now and he seems sharper. And you mentioned, Lee, like if you're going to do an exam or something, you'd be fasted 100%. You know, it's funny you said that, Lee, because I was thinking, I love watching Jeopardy, and I'm like, could you imagine if Ken Jennings was a carnivore or something? Like what next, or anyone going on Jeopardy? They got to think about some of that when they're going on there, because a lot of those guys will go on there, they'll study for like 3 months straight. Imagine if they just incorporated fasting or carnivore into the mix or something. Like some of those guys could be next level.
That's just got to be the beauty of ketosis again. If you think that you suffered last time through not being in ketosis, then you force yourself into ketosis with starvation. Where we're in dietary, nutritional ketosis. Right. They're 2 different things. So that's why at the end you probably felt a hell of a lot better, and then you went just back to eating food. You know, right. But now it's like you're already in ketosis, so of course the next 2 days of fasting, you're already adapted to fat, so you've got fuel, and so you're not going to feel like you're starving. Even though you know what I mean? You're not actually starving because you're in ketosis. You've always got nutrients. You've always got fat. You're just not going to feel lousy.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And anyone, I get this question or comment a lot where people say, I've been doing carnivore for 60 days and I've stalled out. I'm gaining weight or I'm not losing any weight. Try a fast. Like it's not that hard. I'm not saying do a 5-day, maybe just do a 1-day or a 2-day, or try a lion diet, but yeah, 2 days, great. If you're doing, like Lee said, if you're doing carnivore, you already should be in ketosis. So going from that to fasting for 2 days, it's not that hard at all. It's just more of a kind of a brain thing, but great reset. You'll feel great. There's so many other benefits too. Like, yeah, my brain was feeling sharper, but you go into autophagy and there's so much that happens in the background in the cells of your body from fasting that are beneficial. I'm going to do that regularly going forward. I got to come up with, I'm not going to keep doing the 5-day one every week. You know, the amazing thing with that, Lee, this is so crazy. So my friend Jeff, he's my exact height. He's 5'10", and he's my exact weight, 162 pounds. And he's done this 32 times. And
he deserves a great outcome for that, doesn't he? I really, really hope that because it's justified. If there's any justice, even in nature, come on, man.
Yeah, he's a legend, man. Not only is he doing all of that, I talk to him all the time. He texts me. He's like, I just got done. I got the chemo bottle on, and he's jogging and he's running. He's doing everything he possibly can. Yeah. But the crazy thing,
he believes in it too. Yeah. I think that, I'm rooting for him. And I think he'll be fine. I do genuinely believe that. I think he will be. Yeah. I think he believes it. He's got good, positive vibes. He's doing all the right things.
Yep. Yeah. But the fact, this was the crazy thing. 32 times he's done that, same height and weight. He's still the same height and weight. I don't even know. Like, I'm like, dude, you must be eating a lot on your eating weeks. But the human body's incredible. Like, I don't know how it's even possible, but he's been that same weight, like 162 for most of the time. He's been doing this for 30 sessions now, fasting for 5 days and then 5 days on, 5 days off. He isn't losing the weight. So,
but perhaps like the optimal weight at your height and age and that kind of thing, like that it just goes to show we shouldn't be that varied. We're humans. We're probably going to look roughly the same at the same height and weight-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we got one from Carnivores. Dude, $5. Thank you so much. I eat 100% carnivore at home, but when I go to someone's house, I eat what they serve me. I couldn't do it if it was pizza or something, but I see it with Maggie. It was eggs, and I'm like, I was going to do lion, but I did it. But yeah, I know that's a weird thing. Maggie said that to me too. She's like, I was brought up that you eat what someone puts on the table. Thankfully, Maggie was putting carnivore foods on the table, because if she would have put some pizza on there, like, I don't think I could do this. But Bacon of Health became a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Freebird, $10. Before I felt miserable, no energy, and now after carnivore day 43, I feel like an unstoppable force. Thank you, Lee, for your words of wisdom. Have been wonderful. I just subscribed to your channel. Awesome.
Awesome. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, everyone go check out Lee's channel. Link in the description below. It's a wonderful channel. PA Beater, member for 2 months, just loving life and eating meat. Thank you. Thank you. You're having some good success too, PA Beater. I appreciate you. PA Beater was also one, by the way, who donated one of the meetup tickets. So thank you for that too. Jasmine, question. I see some carnivores eating off of or using wood cutting boards. Is there anything you should be careful of or look for in a wood cutting board? Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard that one yet. Well, I
just bought one yesterday.
Yeah.
I just bought a huge one. It's really difficult to clean in my sink. It's so big. I actually cleaned it outside under the tap. It was so big. I was soaking the floor with it. I've got this huge teak board with a nice, obviously, runoff for the blood and stuff like that. It's actually really big. I could probably put like 5 kilos of meat on that thing.
Right. Yeah, that is my only downfall. I've been eating on the cutting board. I copied Dr. Baker. Mine is really big too. I got to get it. It's kind of awkward getting it in the sink. I think it's still easier though than, I don't know. I don't mess a bunch of stuff up. But the question was, is there anything to look for? I'm not really sure on that one. I guess
I'm not sure either. Really, I'm sure there's probably certain coating that certain products use. I don't know. Just go. Yeah, I don't really know.
Try to find something. Yeah, see if there's something kind of natural. No. I know that's kind of an easy one, but it's got some weird synthetic chemical on it to seal it. I would try to avoid it, but
exactly, yeah.
Question. Oh, Gene, I got an answer for this. What is the longest someone has lived on a purely carnivore diet? Well, I just did the video with Maggie, and she's been doing it for 65 years. And we got our good friend Rick Charger Mopar in here. He's 40 plus years. And then you have all sorts of groups of people throughout the history of man that have been doing it.
There you go. Yeah.
So, but yeah, Maggie's 65 years, and I can't wait to share that in the documentary, because I still don't believe she's. I shouldn't say that. It's just unbelievable seeing how she is at 82 years old. Doesn't seem.
I envy her kids. I envy their kids' position in life. You know, they teased on venison. They're all like tall and healthy, robust, jaws, teeth, everything. That's the way to go.
It's funny you mentioned their kids too. I met one of her daughters. Oh, I met a couple of them, but I met one of her daughters. I think she was 47. No joke. She looked like she was 27. It was unbelievable. I was like, please let me interview you for this documentary as Maggie's daughter, who's also she wasn't 100% carnivore, but she was like 95% carnivore and growing up with Maggie. That was incredible. So she's gonna be in the documentary too. She was awesome as well. But yeah, that's the thing, man. These kids, this next generation of kids that are never going to know what it's like to be human. I hope we can start changing that, because
it's actually some of the most upsetting stuff I see now, but actually the complete opposite. When I see a kid eating meat, that makes my day, genuinely. Like, it actually puts a smile on my face. I see a video the other day because of what I watch, and this kid was just this tiny kid. He must have been like 4 or 5 years old. He's got this little T-bone and he's like ripping off. It's crazy. I was like, that just made my day. That's
so cool. I've got some little cousins, and sadly they eat pretty poorly, but when they were over, I kept giving them some meat. We made up a brisket, and he was like, oh my goodness, this thing is so good. I'm like, here, have at it, kid. Have some more. So
it's called food.
Yes. So were there any other questions on there, Alex?
Okay. I don't think so. I think we're up to date, Graham. I was going to ask Graham about the donations.
Righto. So we had some donations. Let me just put in the last one that came in. 5. See, right. I can report back. Let me just share the screen again. Present, share. Right. There we go. So we're sitting at $372 with 192 super chats and 180 GoFund. GoFund did go nowhere this past hour. So, but our super chats went on, and I think we did get some super chats. This was the last one that came through.
Nice.
Dragon, this $5.
Thank
I
you.
think we did cover all the other super chats. Was questions basically that was asked. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Okay, great stuff.
awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate, and it all goes to the Carnivore Diet Movie. Thank you very much.
Okay. Right, guys, I'm going to close off in a minute, but first of all, I'd like to thank Graham for all his amazing contribution today. He's generous with his free time, and it's so much appreciated. And I'll keep in touch with you, mate, for the next one. Lee, so inspiring, mate, and obviously have you on back on soon and maybe start your own live stream.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've got to look into that.
Yeah.
It's overdue.
Yeah.
Do a 25-hour one.
Yeah.
Start.
Obviously,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah, and make sure I fast before. Yeah, I would like to obviously say, as usual, thank you so much, Kerry. I know you're crazy busy with the diet movie, but Guy, you know, it's a blessing to have you by my side, and I do appreciate it so much. And if you don't mind, I'd like you to finish off the live stream and close it down for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate it. Everyone, check out these guys. Graham, Carnivore Transformer, Alex, Carnivore for Life, Lee Copus, Kent Carnivore. Got links in the descriptions for all of them. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us and for all the super chats and donations and for supporting the documentary. I know, again, the whole reason behind this is because there's so many people in the world right now that are hopeless and they really don't need to be. We're hoping to reach millions of people with this documentary. It wouldn't be possible without every one of you helping and donating and commenting and supporting us and keeping the momentum going. So I can't thank you guys all enough. I really appreciate it all. And again, if anyone else wants to participate in the documentary, you could just visit carnivoredietmovie.com. You can register there for free. And yeah, thank you guys all so much. This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Okay, thanks everybody for checking in today, and have a great day. Yeah, see you
Have a
guys.
good day,
Bye.
everyone. Nice one.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Beep.